Chapter 4676. The fastest update to Ling Tian Warlord. These two people, the middle-aged man's name is Xiao Zhennan, and the beautiful woman's name is Hua Ruo. Without exception, they are both beings in the kingdom of God and on the 8th level of Taoism. Of course, in terms of strength, he is still weaker than Hong Dong Chuan. After the two of them briefly greeted Duan Ling Tian, they couldn't help but glance at Duan Ling Tian from time to time. They had already heard about this anti-god sword Duan Ling Tian, and they also knew that Hong Dong Chuan had been defeated by him. However, the two were in retreat at the time, so they did not attend the game. Later, although others made wild claims, deep down in their hearts, they still had some doubts. Can this Duan Ling Tian really defeat Hong Dong Chuan? They knew Hong Dongquan's strength, and he was definitely not a mediocre person. Otherwise, he would not have been recognized as the third strongest person in Zhonglan Divine Kingdom in the past, and he would still be ranked above the two of them. Before Duan Ling Tian appeared, among the top 5 powerful men in Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, the first was undoubtedly the one from the royal family who was in the Hadao realm, and the second was Zhang Haishan from the royal family, who had entered the 9th level. The third is Hong Dong Chuan. The fourth is Hua Ruo. The fifth is Xiao Zhennan. Whether it is Hua Ruo or Xiao Zhennan, this is actually not the first time that they represent Zhonglan Divine Kingdom and compete with the Kuhai Temple for the Hadao Monument. With the strength of a 7th level demon beast, he quickly left Jiangzhou and Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. The Bitter Sea Temple is just to the west of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. After leaving Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, you have entered the scope of the Bitter Sea Temple. Although the area of the Kuhai Temple is not as vast as our Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, it is still half as big as Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. In fact, if it is said to be a temple, you can also regard it as a divine kingdom, because the Kuhai Temple area, those within cities are protected by the Temple of the Sea of Suffering, and taxes need to be paid layer by layer. After entering the Bitter Sea Temple area, Hong Dong Chuan promptly introduced to Duan Ling Tian. Of course, there is no royal family or emperor in Kuhai temples. However, there are leaders like emperors, but they just don't have so many rules. They're about lifelong equality. Even if he is the sacred monk of the Kuhai Temple, the common people in the Kuhai Temple area do not need to salute or anything when they see him. They can even ignore him. And in our Zhonglan Kingdom, this would be considered disrespectful. Following Hong Dongquan's words, Duan Ling Tian also gained a better understanding of the Kuhai Temple. This is a bit like the so-called equality and freedom in Western countries when he was still on Earth. Behind this equality and freedom, taxes that should be paid still need to be paid. In comparison, Zhonglan Divine Kingdom is more like the ancient feudal dynasty of Earth China. Of course, he later traveled to the secular plane, the sacred plane, where a series of countries, whether kingdoms, empires or empires, were all based on the model of feudal dynasties. The core area of the Bitter Sea Temple is called the Boundless Domain, which is taken from the Boundless Sea of Bitterness. The main temple of the Bitter Sea Temple is within the Boundless Territory. Our trip is to Boundless Territory. The Boundless Territory is surrounded by other areas of the Bitter Sea Temple in the center, like stars over the moon. It is similar to Jiangzhou, where the capital of our Zhonglan Divine Kingdom is located. Under Hong Dongquan's introduction, the Bitter Sea Temple became much less mysterious to Duan Ling Tian. Although it is a temple, it is actually a country similar to the one in the west of the earth where it used to be. Is the equality of all living beings the purpose of Kuhai Temple? It's just false equality. If we really put the so-called sacred monks of the Sea of Bitter Temple in one place, and the 100,000 civilians of the Sea of Bitter Sea Temple in another place, and choose one of the two, and let the Sea of Bitter Temple decide their life and death, it will still cost 100,000 people. Civilians to die instead of let a holy monk die. In the end, isn't it true that the strong is respected and the strong is supreme? Arriving at the Boundless area, the core area of the Bitter Sea Temple, we soon approached the city near the main temple of the Bitter Sea Temple. Unlike the royal family of the Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, which stands in the capital, the main temple of the Kuhai Temple is independent among the mountains. There is a city outside the mountains, which is also the largest and most prosperous city in the Kuhai Temple, called Bitterness Sea Temple City. As soon as Duan Ling Tian and others arrived, someone from the Kuhai Temple was responsible for welcoming them into the Kuhai Temple City. The prosperity of the Temple City is comparable to that of the capital of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. Duan Ling Tian and his party were arranged in an independent mansion that had obviously just been cleaned. Everyone had a comfortable independent courtyard. The Dao duel is scheduled for 3 days from now. It will be done internally and not publicly available. The confrontation between Jianglan Divine Kingdom and Kuhai Temple has always been conducted in private and has not been widely publicized. Because of this, if the royal family had not found Duan Ling Tian, even though Duan Ling Tian had stayed in Jianglan Divine Kingdom for a while and became famous everywhere, he would not have known about the existence of this Enter-Dao duel. Duan Ling Tian didn't stay in the small courtyard for long before he walked out bored. Of course, what he wanted more was to experience some of the customs of this Bitter Sea Temple city. When he entered the city, he felt that it was different here. Many things and aspects had some Buddhist overtones. Everywhere on the street a man wearing a monk's robe can be seen. There were also some ascetics who knelt down and worshipped all the way out of the city. They took 3 steps to kneel down, worship and kowtow, and walk towards the outside of the city. When entering the city, Hong Dongchuan told Duan Ling Tian that the direction in which these ascetics were kneeling was exactly where the main temple of Kuhai Temple was. They would also start from the temple city and kneel all the way to the main temple to show there the devotion to Buddha remains the same. As Duan Ling Tian walked through the streets and alleys of the temple city, the sound that came to his ears the most was the sound of Buddha coming from the Buddhist instruments. He relaxed his mind, and in the baptism of the Buddha's sound, his whole person seemed to be greatly relaxed. This feeling is very comfortable. I haven't experienced it in a long time. In the past, when he was still in the land of 10,000 realms and outside the boundary, he stepped into the 7th level of the strongest. He thought that he and his master would be the only 2 strongest 7th levels in the world in the future. In this case, it's totally possible to retire and enjoy life. Cultivation is just fun. Unexpectedly, the situation suddenly changed, and the words of heaven came, opening a shortcut to the 7th level of the most powerful for other world leaders and saints. With the emergence of new 7th level heroes one after another, his idea of retirement naturally came to nothing. Later, he became the first most powerful 8th level being in all realms, and even in the realm of the gods. I thought that as long as I kept walking, I would be able to look down on all living beings, but I didn't expect that the divine earth world would appear. The 8th level of the strongest in the world of gods and earth is the 8th level of the Tao. Although it is considered a relatively top powerhouse, there is a harmony realm above the Tao, which shocks him and makes him yearn for it. Now, he has reached the end of the path. The next step is to attack Hadao. When he steps into Hadao, his strength is equivalent to reaching the level of the heavenly way in the world outside the world. Chapter 46-77. Duan Ling Tian was walking in the temple city, his whole body in a state of relaxation, very relaxed. It was during this process that he once again inexplicably entered a state similar to enlightenment. During this process, the infinite path in the memory of old man Wukong was quickly integrated by him and turned into his own use. The infinite way has officially entered the 8th level. At this moment, the 3rd of the 10,000 ways Duan Ling Tian mastered, the 9th level of swordsmanship, the way of control, and the way of infinity have all reached the 8th level. Not to mention the contemporary Jianglan Divine Kingdom, even the contemporary Bitter Sea Temple where he is now, can find there is no one as special as him who has entered the 9th level. However, at this time, Duan Lingshan's enlightenment was not over yet. Walking in the temple city, listening to the continuous sound of Buddha, Duan Ling Tian felt empty, and his soul seemed to be washed and sublimated. Based on the 10,000 ways he now mastered, he seemed to have seen a brand new path, which seemed to be very suitable for him. Go ahead. Duan Ling Tian worked hard to move forward. When he first set foot on this road, he also recovered from the mysterious state of enlightenment. Originally the soul was wandering in the sky, but in an instant the wandering soul returned to the body. Is that the path to harmony? After waking up, Duan Ling Tian recalled the scene just now and sighed. Although he set foot on that road, at the same time as he set foot on it, he also inexplicably got out of that wonderful state and came back to his senses. He had a very strong feeling. If he had continued to take a few steps forward in the state he was in just now, he might be able to find his own path to harmony. If he could get out of it, the harmony realm would be within easy reach for him. Pity. Just a little bit. He smiled bitterly and shook his head, but Duan Ling Tian quickly calmed down, perhaps because walking in this temple city and the various atmospheres in the temple city made him calm down quickly. This was the first time in his life that he came to such a special city. The temple city is not the most prosperous city he has ever visited, and it is not even ranked among the cities he has visited in the past in terms of prosperity, but it is definitely the only one that can bring special cleansing and sublimation to his heart and soul. Wonderful city. When Duan Ling Tian was visiting the temple city, in the main temple of Kuhai Temple, the 9th level monk did not show up, But the other 3 people who were going to participate in the duel with Zhonglan Divine Kingdom had already gathered together to study this time. People from the other side of the country. Over at Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, a new face came this time. Could it be that he broke the rules and went to find foreign aid? A bald man wearing a robe with lightning eyes said with a low voice. If that's the case, they have broken the rules. That person is not included in the foreign aid that Zhonglan Divine Kingdom is looking for. Another young man, dressed as a scholar and holding a folding fan, was sitting there leisurely with his legs crossed. That man's name is Duan Ling Tian, and his nickname is Inverse Divine Sword. He is a very popular figure in Zhonglan Divine Kingdom some time ago. An existence that defeated Hong Dong Chuan, the prison-suppressing sword of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. I also paid attention to him before. I heard that he left Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. I thought that even if the royal family of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom wanted to invite him, there would be no chance. But I didn't expect that at the critical moment, he would still come on behalf of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. I am also the one who arranged some spies on the side of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. Otherwise, I am afraid that no one on our side will know his identity when the Dao duel begins. The young scholar continued to speak, explaining Duan Lingshan's identity and origin. It actually comes from the creation life chart world? The last skinny white-haired old man holding a cane suddenly lit up his cloudy eyes. Then I want to have a good fight with him and see what he can do. So what if we defeat Hong Dong Chuan? If I were to face that Hong Dong Chuan, even if we are both on the 8th level, I would definitely defeat him within 10 moves. The old man's words were full of arrogance. This time, Zhonglan Divine Kingdom just felt that you were here, so they were unsure and invited Ling Tian. It's a pity that they tried their best to calculate, but they couldn't calculate it. There was another incident in the temple. A person has entered the 9th level. The bald man chuckled. Yes, they think that the boss is our trump card this time. Who knows, our trump card this time is not only the boss, but also the new monk in the temple. The young scholar also smiled and flapped his folding fan gently, looking cool and casual. In the Kuhai Temple, only those who have entered the 9th level or above can be called divine monks. Normally, every time a divine monk appears in the Kuhai Temple, it needs to be widely advertised and the news spreads throughout the Kuhai temples. However, for this time's Enter Dao duel, Kuhai Temple deliberately concealed the news, thinking that in this way, they could use the newly promoted divine monks as their trump card to overwhelm Zhonglan Divine Kingdom in the Dao entrance duel and win the title. Take the remaining piece of Hadao monument from Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. If you get the Hadao steel from Zhonglan Divine Kingdom this time, the number of Hadao steel in Kuhai Temple will increase to 3, while Zhonglan Divine Kingdom will have no more Hadao steel. Under this situation, unless Zhonglan Divine Kingdom can obtain the Hadao monument through other means, it will be destined to be ineligible to challenge Kuhai Temple and initiate a Dao duel in the future. If you don't even have a bet, who will play with you? Get out! In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the duel between Zhonglan Divine Kingdom and Kuhai Temple. Early in the morning, Duan Ling Tian met Zhang Haishan and Hong Dong Chuan. The Dao duel between Zhonglan Divine Kingdom and Kuhai Temple was not held within the temple city, but in a secluded place in the boundless area. In the past, when the Dao duel was held at Kuhai Temple, they always went to that place. That secluded place was deep in a series of mountains. Even if a 7th level monster is flying, it will take a full 2 hours from the time it enters the mountains to reach its destination. After Duan Ling Tian and others arrived at their destination, they found that the people from Kuhai Temple had already arrived first. 5 figures stood there, watching them from a distance. Go ahead. After Zhang Haishan let the birds and monsters leave, he led Duan Ling Tian and others to greet them. At the same time, he said hello to the middle-aged monk wearing black cassocks who was the leader of the 5. Monk Yu Hao, I haven't seen you for many years. Your style is still the same. Prince Haishan, you haven't changed at all. The middle-aged monk responded with a smile, and it was obvious that he was quite familiar with Zhang Haishan in his words. Although this was the first time Duan Ling Tian met this middle-aged monk, he had already heard about him before coming here. Monk Yu Hao. He is also the strongest person under the Hadao realm expert from Kuhai Temple, the only one in the Bitter Sea Temple who has entered the 9th level. It is as famous as Zhonghai Mountain of the royal family of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. Chapter 4678. After saying hello to Zhang Haishan, Divine Monk Yu Hao looked at Duan Ling Tian and asked with a smile. This is a bit unfamiliar. Lord Haishan, Why don't you introduce me? This is our new strong man from Jianglan Divine Kingdom, little brother Duan Ling Tian, Jiang Haishan said with a smile, and then introduced him to Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian glanced at the other party, nodded, and said hello in a neutral tone. After all, he was not here to make friends, but to help Jianglan Divine Kingdom compete for the Hadao Monument. I know all the other three. Let me introduce to little brother Duan Ling Tian the other 4 people participating in the Dao duel in our Kuhai temples. As Monk Yuhao introduced to Duan Ling Tian also knew the names of the other 4 people from the Kuhai temple. At this time, he also heard a message from Hong Dongchuan, saying that the skinny old man holding a cane was the one who belonged to the Kuhai temple this time. The trump card is someone stronger than him, known as Old Man. Prince Haishan, shall we start directly? Monk Yuhao asked with a smile. Before today, the 2 parties had actually met, and both had seen other bets offered by the other party besides the Hadao Monument. Today, the main thing is to enter the Dao duel, and the rest has already been arranged. Good. Jiang Haishan nodded. Originally, he came out this time to confront the disciples of Kuhai Temple. The fight for the Hadao Monument was the first priority. Naturally, it would be better to fight quickly. Then let's get started. Divine Monk Yuhao nodded, and then looked at the bald man wearing black robes over him. Tui, let you take the lead. Yes, holy monk. The bald man Tui looked extremely honest in front of Divine Monk Yuhao, but when he came off the stage, his face was full of unruly. He looked at the other 4 people from Jianglan Divine Kingdom, except Jiang Haishan, and finally staring at Duan Ling Tian. Young pretty boy, do you want to go out and play with me first? Tui, who used to be a monk at the Kuhai Temple, later returned to lay life and founded his own power, and is now the overlord of the Kuhai Temple. A person with considerable strength who has entered the 8th level. According to Hong Dongchuan, Tui's strength is not much weaker than him. Now, Tui's provocation to Duan Ling Tian is naturally just a smokescreen, because he knows that Duan Ling Tian is stronger than him and is Jianglan Divine Kingdom's trump card this time. Even if they are both on the 8th level, they are probably on their side. Duel between elders. He was sure that Duan Ling Tian would not end so early, so he opened his mouth to provoke him like this. Laugh. Before Duan Ling Tian could speak, Hong Dongchuan had already sneered. Tui, you are overestimating your abilities. You alone are not qualified to let me, brother Ling Tian, take action. In his opinion, with the current strength of his Ling Tian brother, he could crush Tui to death with one finger. This Tui is so arrogant. Hong Dongchuan, you said that. Is it possible that this person is stronger than you? Takuno asked, pretending to be surprised. That's natural. Hong Dongchuan said calmly. I'd better do it first. On the side of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Huarua was the first to leave, looked directly at Tuyi, and said lightly, Tuyi, last time, I was defeated by you by just a hair. This time I, Huarua, want to avenge my shame. Tuyi's eyes fell on Huarua and sneered. Huarua, you dare to say this? It seems that you have made some progress in these thousands of years. However, you are not so naive as to think that after thousands of years, you Huarua is the only one. Can there be progress? I hope your little cherry mouth can match your strength. As soon as the words fell, Tui took action. The sword light was raging and he beheaded Xiang Huarua. Facing Tui's offensive, Huaruo's power, which had been prepared for a long time, swept out in an instant. The rules of the Dao duel are actually very simple. There is one player on one side, and the loser gets off the field. The winner can choose to get off the field, or he can stay on the field and wait for the opponent's next person to get off the field. Theoretically, if one side has the strength to overwhelm the opponent's 5 strong men, it can completely accept the opponent's will battle, kill through the opponent's camp, and directly win the final victory. The other 4 people on the side can paddle without even taking action. Boom. Boom. In the field, the battle was fierce. Tui is good at the art of swords, while Huarua is good at a kind of art that Duan Ling Tian has never seen before, flower art. I saw her take action, and her power spread out, like a goddess scattering flowers. It was very beautiful, but underneath the beauty, there was hidden murderous intent. She defied Tui's strong attacks time and time again, even after dozens of moveses if overwhelming Takuno. Boom. In the end, Huarua managed to defeat Tuyi with minor injuries. Tui spat out a large mouthful of blood and was even more seriously injured. His face was pale and his eyes were full of unwillingness. He never expected that he would be defeated by this former defeated general. Your Majesty, I guess I won't be able to continue the next duel. Hua Ruo, who had won the victory, looked at Zhang Haishan and said apologetically. Zhang Haishan smiled and said, "It doesn't matter, you won a game and achieved your first victory, which is already a great achievement. Congratulations to the Emperor Haishan. Jianglan Divine Kingdom is truly a hidden dragon and a crouching tiger." Divine Monk Yu Hao saw that his side was defeated, but he still smiled, as if he was not worried that his side would lose at all. Of course, it may also be because he felt that Ku Hai Temple could afford to lose, so he did not care about winning or losing in this game. After all, Ku Hai Temple now has 2 Hadao tablets in hand. There is only one piece of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. The two situations are completely different. Xiao Zhennan, are you here to fight me? The scholar holding the mountain ended up. His name was Han Zheng. He was the leader of a large organization in the Ku Hai Temple. He was neither a sect nor a family. He was engaged in many aspects of business, including but not limited to taking on the killer business. Intelligence business. Although I'm not sure, I still have to go all out for this one. Xiao Zhennan came off the stage and looked at Han Zheng. The two of them were old acquaintances. Next, the two of them fought. In less than 30 moves, Xiao Zhennan was defeated by Han Zheng, but Han Zheng was unscathed and could still fight again. Follow closely. Hong Dongchuan ends. He narrowly defeated Han Zheng, but he was also injured and could no longer fight. At this point, Jianglan Divine Kingdom fell into a disadvantage. In Jianglan Divine Kingdom, only Duan Lingtian and Zhang Haishan are left to fight. As for the Bitter Sea Temple, there are still 3 people left to fight. A figure entered the scene. It was the white-haired old man holding a cane. The old man had a thin face, and his originally cloudy eyes shot out a cold light. He looked at Duan Lingtian and said in a calm tone, "I heard that you, Duan Lingtian, once easily defeated Hong Dongchuan. Today let me, my boss, teach you your methods." Duan Lingtian raised his eyebrows when he heard this, but did not make any move. A figure entered the scene. In addition to Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan, the entire audience was shocked, including Xiao Zhennan and Hua Ruo from Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Just because the person who ended up was none other than Zhang Haishan. This is the 9th level of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Chapter 4679. Except for Zhang Haishan himself, Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan, no one expected Zhang Haishan to end at this time. They all felt that Zhang Haishan, as the strongest 9-level entrant in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, should not end up now. Is it possible that the Emperor knows that Duan Lingtian is not this old opponent? So, do you think there is no need for him to end? In Jianglan Divine Kingdom, both Xiao Zhennan and Hua Ruo think so now. Over at the Ku Hai Temple, several people led by Divine Monk Yu Hao are actually confused now. What's happening here? Why did Zhang Haishan end up entering the 9th level and ending up so quickly? The old man holding the crutch couldn't help but frown at this time, and then his eyes fell on Duan Lingtian like lightning, and he said in a deep voice, "Duan Lingtian, you think you are no match for me, so you are dismissed. Courage is there's none?" Although his strength is considered relatively strong among the 8th level, he still thinks that he cannot compare with the 9th level. With Zhang Haishan at his end, he could only admit defeat and there was no need to take action. When Duan Lingtian heard the boss calling him, his eyes turned to him, and he smiled lightly and said, "If you feel this way, that's fine. Just be happy." Hearing this, the old man's face darkened. What else? Is it possible that you can be stronger than Prince Zhang Haishan? Guessed it right, but there's no prize. Duan Lingtian glanced at the elder in surprise, but he didn't expect that the other party was not stupid enough to guess this. As Duan Lingtian finished speaking, Tui, the black-robed and bald man at the Ku Hai Temple, couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Duan Lingtian, what are you pretending to be here? Do you really think that we don't know your details? Some time ago, didn't you just compete with Hong Dongchuan in Jianglan Divine Kingdom and beat him? Your strength is pretty good at the 8th level of the Dao, but if you want to compare with me, you're not up to par. You don't dare to end now. Don't you have self-awareness and know that you are not an old opponent?" When the words fell, Tui's face was filled with a sarcastic smile. Duan Lingtian smiled, his eyes falling on Tui with disdain. They say ugly people tend to make mischief. In my opinion, losers also like to talk too much. One sentence made Tui furious and angrily asked, "Who do you think is a waste?" "Talking to you." Duan Lingtian smiled, Otherwise, who do you think you are talking about? You dash. Tui was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. He could imagine that Duan Lingtian was stronger than him, so in the end he could only suppress the anger in his heart. His body was shaking violently, but he did not dare to take action. At this time, Divine Monk Yu Hao came to his rescue. Tui, how Zhonglan Divine Kingdom arranges it is Zhonglan Divine Kingdom's business, and neither you nor the elder should have any say in it. After he finished speaking, he looked at the old man with a cane and said, Boss, since Emperor Zhang Haishan is going to die personally, you should just admit defeat. Yes, holy monk. The old man on crutches responded respectfully, and then retreated. He had no intention of fighting by Haishan, because fighting was just looking for abuse, and there was no way to help the two people behind to consume by Haishan's strength, because the gap was too big. Just when everyone in Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, including Duan Lingtian, thought that at Kuhai Temple, Divine Monk Yu Hao would end up in person. But he didn't expect that he would not end up. But another monk ended up. Prince Haishan, let this young monk learn your clever tricks. The one who is going to die now is none other than another middle-aged monk who has been standing behind the Divine Monk Yu Hao and has no sense of presence. Duan Lingtian also just came from Hongdong Chuan learned from his mouth that the other party was a member of the main temple of Kuhai Temple. A strong person who has entered the 8th level. According to Hongdong Chuan, in terms of strength, he should be slightly inferior to Lao Lao. But now he has stood up. For a moment, not only Duan Lingtian was a little surprised, but even other people in Zhonglan Divine Kingdom were also shocked. Zhang Haishan's pupils shrank slightly, and he took a deep look at the middle-aged monk in front of him. It seems that now I should call you Bai Yan Divine Monk. He naturally knew this monk named Bai Yan. The duel 1,000 years ago was only at the 8th level of the Tao. His strength was comparable to Hong Dongquan's, and the two ended in a draw. Thousands of years later, he came down again and faced him. Where does the courage come from? Even the boss who he originally thought was stronger than Bai Yan, backed down when facing him, but he ended up. What does it mean? It means that he must have entered the 9th level of the Tao. Monk Yu Hao, your Kuhai Temple is really keeping things secret. First there was an old man, and then there was the Bai Yan Divine Monk. Zhang Haishan looked at Divine Monk Yu Hao and sighed with a complicated expression. If Duan Lingtian had not entered the 9th level, even if Duan Lingtian took action this time, their Zhonglan Divine Kingdom would definitely be defeated. Fortunately, Duan Lingtian has already entered the 9th level and is stronger than him. Therefore, this time their Zhonglan Kingdom is still stable. Next, during the battle between Zhang Haishan and Bai Yan Divine Monk, Duan Lingtian and others watched from a distance. The fight caused the mountains to collapse and the earth to crack. The terrifying power of entering the 9th level of the Tao, combined with the Tao they mastered, was extremely powerful. Every time an offensive was launched, the sky was blocked and the sun was blocked. Momentum force. So hard. Do you want to hurt Zhang Haishan? Soon, Duan Lingtian saw the clues. Although the Bai Yan Divine Monk and Zhang Haishan were both at the 9th level, their strength was obviously inferior and he could not be Zhang Haishan's opponent. And even under the situation, he still had a desperate style of play, which greatly increased the pressure on Zhang Haishan. In the end, he was defeated by Zhang Haishan, but Zhang Haishan was also injured. He spurted 3 big mouthfuls of blood, and his breath became weak. On the other hand, the Bai Yan Divine Monk was even worse. His sternum was sunken, his face was pale, and he was covered in blood. His body was shaky, as if he might collapse at any time. If Divine Monk Yu Hao hadn't admitted defeat, his life would have been in danger if the fight continued. Monk Bai Yan is really hard-working. Zhang Haishan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, glanced at the Bai Yan monk who was supported by Han Zheng and Tui, and smiled coldly. I'm not as good as Emperor Haishan. Although the White Rock priest's face was covered with blood, he still had a smile on his face, which was so creepy that it made people stand on end. Prince Haishan, it's our turn. Divine Monk Yu Hao had no intention of letting Zhang Haishan rest and left the game directly. At this moment, everyone present at the Kuhai Temple, including Monk Yu Hao himself, felt that this time the Enter Dao showdown was stable, and their Kuhai Temple would win again. After hearing what Monk Yu Hao said, Zhang Haishan shook his head and smiled, then retreated away from the battle. Monk Yu Hao, your opponent is not me. Almost at the moment Zhang Haishan finished speaking, a purple figure, Feng Su, came from the wind and entered the battle, confronting Monk Yuhao with calm eyes. And stand. Chapter 4680. Divine Monk Yuhao was dressed in a black monk's robe that moved with the wind. His benevolent brows revealed a bit of majesty, but at the moment he was staring at the young man in purple who was confronting him, and he couldn't help but have a look of astonishment on his face. Just because this was a scene he never expected. He originally thought that the anti-divine sword Duanling Tian, who had caused quite a storm in Jianglan Divine Kingdom some time ago, was an 8th-level existence more powerful than Hong Dong Chuan. The trump card he found this time, Lao Lao, was enough to easily deal with it. When Lao Lao came off the field and prepared to fight him, but he didn't come off, he just thought it was because he was not sure of defeating Lao Lao. But I didn't expect that the other party would end at this time. Although being the boss is his trump card, it is only the first small trump card. The biggest trump card is the second person who has been promoted to the 9th level of the main temple of Kuhai Temple. That is, the White Rock Divine Monk. Zhang Haishan's strength is not weak. Even though he was lucky enough to defeat Zhang Haishan 1,000 years ago, he doesn't think he can safely defeat Zhang Haishan this time. Because, over the millennia, his improvement has been minimal. Therefore he planned to let Divine Monk Bai Yan use all his strength to injure Zhang Haishan, so that Zhang Haishan would not pose a threat to him. Now, Bai Yan Divine Monk has lived up to expectations and wounded Zhang Haishan. He had already expected that in the next scene, either Zhang Haishan would admit defeat, or he would defeat the injured Zhang Haishan. However, he never expected that when Zhang Haishan gave up the fight with him, Duanling Tian from Jianglan Divine Kingdom, who he thought had given up, would end up facing him. At this moment, an ominous premonition arose in his heart. How can this be? You actually let him face Monk Yuhao? At this moment, not only Divine Monk Yuhao himself, but also the other 4 people at the Kuhai Temple were looking at Duanling Tian with shock and suspicion, and waves of turmoil arose in their hearts. Even Xiao Zhenan and Hua Ruo from Jianglan Divine Kingdom looked horrified at this time. What's happening here? In fact, just now Xiao Zhenan and Hua Ruo were very puzzled that Duanling Tian did not end up fighting against the boss. Until now, their hearts were shaken, and a crazy thought vaguely arose. It turns out that this piece of Ling Tian wasn't a trump card used by Emperor Jiang Haishan to deal with the elders at the Kuhai Temple? Is it used to deal with Divine Monk Yuhao? It's just that I'm blind. Divine Monk Yuhao took a deep look at Duanling Tian and said, It seems that your anti-sword sword has entered the 9th level of the Tao in recent days. As soon as he opened his mouth, he called Duanling Tian by his name. It was obvious that he already knew about Duanling Shan's existence. Please give me some advice from the holy monk. Duanling Tian smiled indifferently. His eyes were calm and unruffled. On the other hand, Zhang Haishan, although he was injured and looked slightly pale, there was a smile on his lips. Prince Haishan is very confident. Is it possible that the strength of this anti-sword sword after he enters the 9th level of the Tao will put even you, Emperor Haishan, to shame? Divine Monk Yuhao saw the smile on Zhang Haishan's lips, looked at him deeply, and asked tentatively. Zhang Haishan shook his head and smiled. Monk Yuhao, you don't need to test me. How strong is Duanling Tian? You'll know if you try it? But secretly slandering in my heart. Fortunately, it was just a discussion. Otherwise, you will die if you try. Then let me learn how to use the anti-god sword. Divine Monk Yuhao let out a soft drink, and the black monk's robes on his body shook, and the power that had been prepared for a long time was released. In the blink of an eye, the whole person continued to grow and collide, and finally turned into a giant as towering as a mountain. This is also the path that Monk Yuhao majors in, the path of giants. This kind of Tao Yuhao divine monk has already understood the 9th level, and it is with the help of the giant Tao that he has entered the 9th level of the Tao. Boom, boom. After the body of divine monk Yuhao grew larger, the power in his body vibrated and spread out, seemingly endlessly. The infinite way. Moreover, it is the infinite path of the 7th level. Duanling Tian is very familiar with this kind of aura. Not only that, after the infinite way appeared, the power in the hands of divine monk Yuhao condensed into a long stick like the Dinghai divine needle. There was a faint halo flowing around the long stick, exuding a rich and domineering aura. This is also the 3rd way mastered by divine monk Yuhao. Stick Road. Moreover, he has already realized the 6th level. Boom. There was a loud noise, and divine monk Yuhao took the lead to take action. His momentum was like a rainbow, and he rushed out in the void. the figure that covered the sky and the sun rushed towards Duan Ling Tian with a mighty momentum. The long stick in his hand vibrated, and there was a continuous sound of explosions. Fear the aftermath of its power rages across all directions. His move immediately made the onlookers present except Jiang Haishan look solemn, and they all gathered their strength to resist the aftermath of the attack. After all, this is a super strong person who has entered the 9th level. If you can't get along, the experts at this level are the most tyrannical. And the other side. Facing the menacing divine monk Yu Hao, Duan Ling Tian looked calm and raised his hand casually. In an instant, the power from the 9th level of the Tao roared into the sky, and soon condensed into a giant sword in the sky. The power around the giant sword vibrated endlessly, giving people a feeling that it was more majestic than the infinite power of the monk Yu Hao. This piece of Lingshan's infinite way is stronger than the 7th level infinite way of monk Yu Hao. Several people at the Bitter Sea Temple were shocked. And as Duan Lingshan's condensed giant sword of the sky fell, the void shook again, as if a faint shadow could be vaguely seen, as if it could control all things, pushing the giant sword to crush it and fall, facing the menacing attack. Monk Yu Hao, call out! The giant sword of the sky crashed down and collided with the giant stick in the hand of the monk Yu Hao. After a brief stalemate, waves of terrifying power erupted and raged, creating endless winds. Boom! With a loud noise, the giant sword in the sky was vibrating, with an indomitable momentum, as if it was invincible. The pressure made the face of the divine monk Yu Hao change greatly, and then turned pale. Then the giant stick in his hand was crushed and shattered, and the whole sword was crushed. People were also blown away. Wow dash! Divine monk Yu Hao flew out upside down, opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of rich blood. Halfway through, his huge body no longer appeared, replaced by his original normal figure. Apparently 3 of them were broken by Duan Lingshan's sword. In the duel at the 9th level of the Tao, 1 sword shattered 3 Tao. Complete crushing. Different from the injured and embarrassed monk Yu Hao, on the other side, a young man in purple stood there, holding a slightly dim sky sword, his face unchanged, his eyes indifferent, as if he had just done something insignificant. Matter. This level of disparity in strength does not apply to others. Even Jiang Haishan and Hong Dongchuan, who knew that Duan Ling Tian was very powerful, couldn't help but gasp. His strength has become stronger again? Chapter 46-81. Duan Ling Tian took action and wounded and defeated divine monk Yu Hao with just 1 sword strike. While Hong Dongchuan and Jiang Haishan were also frightened, the other onlookers were stunned for a while and could not recover for a long time. They never dreamed that Duan Ling Tian would have such terrifying strength. Especially the old man on crutches. After he came to his senses, his old face couldn't help but twitch sharply. Thinking of his previous arrogance, he wanted to dig a hole and hide in it. How could he be so strong? Tui, a bald and strong man in black robe, looked at Han Zheng, who was holding a folding fan. His eyes were full of confusion. At the same time, he asked through a voice transmission, Han Zheng, didn't you say that you found him out clearly? This is what you call clear out. Chew. The corner of Han Zheng's mouth twitched and he said helplessly. He hid it too deeply. Don't you think that in Jianglan Divine Kingdom, except for Jiang Haishan and Hong Dongchuan, the other 2 people don't know that he is a Taoist? 9th floor? Look at Jiang with the current expressions on Haishan and Hong Dongchuan. They probably didn't expect Duan Ling Tian to have such terrifying strength. Perhaps in their eyes, Duan Ling Tian is only slightly stronger than divine monk Yu Hao. Now that he defeated divine monk Yu Hao with 1 sword, he obviously shocked them. The Bai Yan divine monk did not speak, but his eyes towards Duan Ling Tian were full of complexity. He never expected that this time they, the Kuhai Temple, had 2 trump cards, but in the end they lost to the only one from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. A trump card. Your Jianglan Kingdom is hidden too deep. Han Zheng looked at Duan Ling Tian and said with a wry smile, with the strength of this anti-god sword, if he is the first to die, he may be able to kill the 5 of us with his own strength. At this time, Xiao Zhennan and Hua Ruo from Jianglan Divine Kingdom also came back to their senses. When they looked at Duan Ling Tian, their previous calmness was no longer there, replaced by horror and respect. After this battle, this Nishenjian will become the first person under the Hadao realm of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. It won't be long before his name will spread throughout the world of gods and earth. Although there are many powerful people in the Hadao realm in the world of gods and earth, there are only a few dozen people in the world of gods and earth. It is quite famous in the area of. Just like Divine Monk Yu Hao of Kuhai Temple and Jiang Haishan of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, they are both powerful practitioners who are famous in the world of gods and earth. Anyone in the world of gods and earth who pays attention to the top experts in the town knows about their existence. Prince Haishan, this time our Kuhai Temple is convinced of our defeat. Divine Monk Yu Hao finally regained his breath, glanced at Duan Lingtian fearfully, and then looked at Jiang Haishan, his face full of bitterness and helplessness. I thought I could capture another Hadao monument from your Jianglan Divine Kingdom this time, but I didn't expect it. Something unexpected happened. This defeat was something I never expected, and it was also something none of us here expected. Your Jianglan Divine Kingdom really has a dark horse. Different from the helplessness of Divine Monk Yu Hao, Jiang Haishan had a bright smile on his face, but he still said modestly, Monk Yu Hao, previously, I thought I would definitely lose this time. Fortunately, my brother Hong introduced Brother Ling Tian. This allowed our Jianglan Divine Kingdom to make a comeback. Accepted. Seeing the pride on Jiang Haishan's face, Divine Monk Yu Hao had the urge to punch him. At the same time, he felt helpless and puzzled. 1,000 years later, if Duan Ling Tian still represents Jianglan Divine Kingdom in the Dao duel, what should they do in Kuhai Temple? Headache. Although he was defeated, Divine Monk Yu Hao's enthusiasm as the host remained undiminished, and he invited Duan Ling Tian and others to the main temple of Kuhai Temple as guests. Duan Ling Tian also knew that this had been a past practice, and after entering the Dao duel, he would have the opportunity to directly facing the Hadao strongman of the force that hosted the Dao duel, listen to his sermon. Thousands of years ago, the Taoist duel in Jianglan Divine Kingdom was defeated, and the people from Kuhai Temple still stayed there as guests, listening to the sermons of the powerful Taoist from the royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but look forward to it. In the previous epiphany when he was walking in the temple city of Kuhai Temple, his infinite way almost rushed directly into the 9th floor, and successfully combined with his sword way. It's just a small step away. The path to infinity is still only infinitely close to the 9th level and has not yet been entered. Once he steps in, he is sure that with the feeling left over from his previous enlightenment, he should be able to quickly take the next step, successfully combine the Tao, and master the infinite sword Dao. Which two kinds of Tao does the strong Taoist in Kuhai Temple combine? When following the people from Kuhai Temple to the main temple of Kuhai Temple, Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but send a message to ask Jiang Haishan. Jiang Haishan immediately sent a message and responded. The strong man who combines the Tao is the Sanskrit Tao and the infinite Tao. Hearing this, Duan Ling Tian suddenly became excited. Fanning said that this was the first time he heard it and he didn't feel anything at all. But the infinite way is what he has mastered now. Except for the way of swordsmanship, the latecomers are on top and are about to enter the 9th level of the way. If this time, through the sermon of the powerful Hadao man from Kuhai Temple, my infinite path can reach the 9th levels, this Bitter Sea Temple is definitely my blessed place. Duan Ling Tian said secretly. As for why once he successfully breaks through the infinite way this time, he will no longer help Jianglan Divine Kingdom to deal with Kuhai Temple in the Dao duel in 1,000 years, but he has never thought about it. Just because he never thought that he would still be a Taoist after 1,000 years. However, Duan Ling Tian didn't think so, but someone reminded him. The message from Divine Monk Yu Hao came, Brother Lington, if you no longer participate in the Dao duel between our Kuhai Temple and Jianglan Divine Kingdom after 1,000 years, we here at Kuhai Temple can grant you a request within our ability. He felt Duan Lingshan's strength personally. Even in 1,000 years, he doesn't think he can be his opponent. As for the Bai Yen Divine Monk, he is not even as good as him, let alone compared with Duan Ling Tian. Hearing this message, Duan Ling Tian was stunned for a moment, and then he was overjoyed. Didn't you come to give him a pillow just after he fell asleep? I've thought about it, and I'll give you an answer before I leave the Kuhai Temple. Duan Ling Tian responded. He had thought about it, and he must agree to it because he didn't think that he would still be just a small initiate in 1,000 years. As for why he doesn't agree now, it's because he hasn't thought of any conditions yet. Let's first see if the sermon of the strong man from the Sea of Bitter Sea Temple's Hadao realm can help him take the infinite path a step further and step into the 9th level. Now, he has two plans in mind. It all depends on whether the infinite way can go further after the other party preaches. Chapter 4682. Soon, under the leadership of Divine Monk Yu Hao, Duan Ling Tian and others went to the main temple of Kuhai Temple and saw the Hadao realm strongman from Kuhai Temple. This is an old monk with white eyebrows. He is wearing a gray-white cassock. He looks ordinary. He is sitting cross-legged in the ancient and vicissitudes of the Buddhist temple. If you don't use your eyes to see it, but just use your spiritual sense to scan out, it will be difficult to find him. He was sitting there with his eyes closed and meditating. Grandmaster, the guests have arrived. Monk Yu Hao bowed respectfully. Jiang Haishan brought 4 members of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom into Taoism, and met the Yongye Divine Monk. Jiang Haishan followed and spoke in a respectful tone. After all, this was a strong man in the Hadao realm who stood at the pinnacle of the world of gods and earth. No matter how strong a master in the Dao realm was, it was not worth mentioning in front of him. Duan Lingtian is considered to be strong. He has entered the 9th level of Taoism and has understood the 3 kinds of Tao very well. But if he were to face the Yongye Divine Monk, he would not be able to resist even a single blow from the Yongye Divine Monk. He would be disabled even if he was not dead. I've seen the Eternal Night Monk. At this time, both Duan Lingtian and Hong Dongchuan and the other 4 people from Jianglan Divine Kingdom, as well as the other 3 people from Kuhai Temple except Bai Yen Divine Monk, all looked at Yongyi with awe. Divine Monk. The Eternal Night Monk is not only the most powerful person in the Kuhai Temple, but also the belief of the people in the Kuhai Temple. His status in their eyes is so high that no one can replace him. Even though he is an old man with a cane, the reason why he is willing to represent the Bitter Sea Temple in the Dao Dao showdown with Jianglan Divine Kingdom after appearing in seclusion for many years is because he knows that no matter he wins or loses, he will have the opportunity to hear this. A sermon. Duan Lingtian looked at the white-browed old monk in front of him. This was also the first time in his life that he had seen a strong man in the Hadao realm who had surpassed the 9th level of Dao. You must know that in all the worlds he was in before, and even in the places outside the world, not to mention after the historical separation, even before the historical separation, the most powerful existence that appeared was the 9th level of the Dao. It is not said that anyone can go back to forward take a step forward. Even for the old man Wukong whose memory he merged with, in the eyes of the other party, the only thing beyond the 9th level of the Dao, which is the 7th level of the most powerful, is the Dao of Heaven. In the past, the so-called way of heaven in all realms, and even in places outside the realm, was mysterious and unpredictable in his eyes. It wasn't until he came to the world of gods and earth that he realized that the so-called way of heaven was just the rules determined by the strong men in the Hadao realm in the world of gods and earth after they obtained the creation life chart. In other words, the way of heaven is the master of the creation chart. In addition, he has basically figured out one thing. That is, before and after the historical separation of the world and the land outside the world, the so-called way of heaven is actually not controlled by the same person, or it is not the same person. The person in front has cultivated the Tao of taboo life sacrifice to the 9th level, and is only one step away from integrating it into his other already integrated Tao. Once successful, he will become the top being in the world of gods and earth. The 3 paths merge into one, and he is the sealing powerhouse in the world of gods and earth. Looking at the contemporary world, there are only a handful of such peerless experts. However, later he was besieged, severely injured and died tragically, and the creation life chart was also taken away and divided into several parts. It was at that time that the world in the creation life chart collapsed, and old man Wukong died, desperately trying to survive. Only by protecting it, he was able to leave a complete memory in his own place of ruins, and finally it was obtained by Duan Lingtian after the history was cut off. It was not at all what the old man Wukong had guessed. Why was heaven afraid that someone like him would surpass him at the 9th level? So he wanted to kill him. In the creation life chart world, the limit that can be reached by cultivation is the 9th level of the most powerful, which is equivalent to the 9th level of the Tao. It was not until many years later that someone gathered together the parts of the creation chart, reorganized the creation chart, and practiced the forbidden life sacrifice method. Only then did the world in the creation chart reopen from chaos and gradually recover. At the same time, under the influence of God, did the 2 world catch you? A few people were thrown into the creation horoscope space, where they were allowed to reproduce. And Duan Lingtian is the life that spawned from the group of people from the divine earth world. Not only him, but all the people he knew in the world and beyond were all beings born later. However, the new owner of the creation life chart, who had only reached the 8th level in his cultivation of the taboo of life sacrifice, was caught. He made the same mistake as the old owner of the creation life chart and escaped with serious injuries, but he still managed to escape. Taking away the destroyed creation chart, this is better than the old owner of the creation chart. After all, the old master failed to take away the creation chart. Hello everyone. The Yongye Divine Monk opened his eyes, his eyes dimmed, and his whole person looked more and more ordinary, but no one dared to underestimate him. After all, they all knew that he was a strong man in Hadao. I didn't expect that I would have the opportunity to see the existence that came out of the world of creation and destiny. The eyes of Yongye Divine Monk quickly fell on Duanling Tian. In your body, there is life born in the world of creation and destiny. The breath. Some time ago, although I did not participate in the encirclement and suppression of the new master of the creation life chart, I was when Pan was injured and countless lives fell into the world of gods and earth. He still sensed many strange auras coming into the world. It was precisely because of this that he knew that Duan Lingshan's aura was different from the aborigines of the divine land world, and belonged to the aura of life born in the creation life Pan world. Duanling Tian asked curiously, and soon learned this from the other party. Ancestor. At this time, Divine Monk Yu Hao smiled bitterly and said, "This time, our Kuhai temple was defeated." When the words fell, his eyes were full of self-blame. The Yongye Divine Monk's expression remained unchanged. He continued to look at Duanling Tian, and asked in a calm tone, "Is it because of him?" "Yes." Divine Monk Yu Hao nodded. "Brother Duanling Tian is far more powerful than me. Not only has the way of swordsmanship reached the 9th level, but the way of infinity and control have also reached at least the 8th level." As soon as these words came out, the dim eyes of the Yongye Divine Monk suddenly became brighter. And everyone else, except Jiang Haishan and the white-eyed monk, were all shocked. Even Hong Dong Chuan, although he had witnessed Duanling Tian easily defeat the Divine Monk Yu Hao before, he never expected that Duanling Tian would take such an amazing step and comprehend the other 2 ways to the 8th level. It was simply outrageous. Doesn't this mean that as long as one of the 2 Tao steps into the 9th level, Duanling Tian can try to combine it? Once Hadao is successful, another powerful person in the Hadao realm will be born in the world of gods and earth. The lives in the creation world are all descendants of people from the world of gods and earth. Their talents are not bad. However, for you to have come this far, your talents are already top-notch. Hadao, for you in terms, it should not be difficult matter. The Yongye Divine Monk spoke again, looking at Duanling Tian with a look that was obviously more friendly. Duanling Tian cupped his hands and smiled slightly. "I hope that your next sermon, the Holy Monk, will give me more insights and even make me one step further on the infinite path." Chapter 4683. The Yongye Divine Monk smiled happily. "So, I can't hide my secrets in the following sermon. If it can help Duanling Tian take that step, it will be a good thing for him and the Bitter Sea Temple. This is equivalent to giving Duanling Tian a favor. Monk Yongye, from what you said, could it be that you were hiding something secret when you preached in the past?" Jiang Haishan shook his head and smiled. "Ha ha. Just kidding. However, since little friend Duanling Tian is here today, I will tell you in more detail. I hope it can be of help to you and help you to take a step further." The Yongye Divine Monk also smiled, and then looked at Duanling Tian with soft eyes, intent on giving him a favor. Of course, he also knew in his heart that if he sent out this favor, the other party might not be able to receive it. However, he still planned to try. "Thank you, Divine Monk Yung." Duanling Tian thanked him profusely. Ever since Duanling Tian easily defeated Divine Monk Yu Hao, among the people of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, he seemed to have replaced Jiang Haishan and become the most dazzling existence. Next, everyone listened quietly to the sermon of the Yongye Divine Monk. During this process, it was not difficult for Duanling Tian to feel that the Yongye Divine Monk was not out of touch just now. He really meant to preach for him. Whenever he talked about the infinite way, the depth of his analysis showed his good intentions. And Duanling Tian didn't let go of such a good opportunity, and listened carefully. Unknowingly, he was fascinated by what he heard, and even began to verify it in his mind. Gradually, his understanding of the infinite path gradually became clearer. Deepen, continue to deepen, and then grow more smoothly and break the bottleneck. Done in one go. Wah! Before the end of the Yongye Divine Monk sermon, Duanling Tian finally took the next step and successfully understood the infinite path to the 9th level, becoming a 9th level master who has mastered 2 9th level ways. Such existences are also recognized as half-step Hadao and quasi-Hadao. Because, for such a being, as long as he takes one more step forward and the 2 kinds of 9-level Dao merge into one, he will officially enter the united Dao realm. Congratulations, little friend. When Duanling Tian successfully attracted everyone's attention, before anyone else could react, Yongye Divine Monk was the first to speak, congratulating Duanling Tian. At this time, Everyone else came to their senses and congratulated Duan Lingtian. Even the representatives from the Kuhai Temple who had been at loggerheads with Duan Lingtian before, all of them congratulated him in a friendly manner, as if they wanted to mend their relationship with Duan Lingtian, including the bald man, and old age. Now that they all realize that Duan Lingtian is not easy to mess with, they will naturally not be stupid enough to offend him. Such a being, even if we cannot be friends, we must not be enemies. In this way, Duan Lingtian successfully took a crucial step. The Infinite Way entered the 9th level, getting closer and closer to the Hadao realm. Next, he did not return to Zhonglan Divine Kingdom with Zhang Haishan and others, but planned to stay for a while. It was said that he wanted to communicate with the Yongye Divine Monk, but in fact, he wanted to use the Kuhai Temple to the piece of Hadao monument left behind take a look and observe. This was also the condition he proposed to Monk Yuhao. The price is that he cannot participate in the next Dao duel between Zhonglan Divine Kingdom and Kuhai Temple. With him helping the Zhonglan Kingdom, the Kuhai Temple felt that it was invincible and unmatched. They might lose the Hadao monument they were currently promoted to in 1,000 years. Duan Lingtian originally thought that if he listened to the sermons of the Yongye Divine Monk and his Infinite Way did not break through, he would put forward the conditions for the Yongye Divine Monk to continue to preach to him and help his Infinite Way to enter the 9th level. Now, since a breakthrough has been made, it is natural to change the conditions. Next, Duan Lingtian stayed in the main temple of Kuhai Temple and became a distinguished guest of Kuhai Temple. Zhang Haishan, Hong Dongchuan and other 4 people returned to Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. Dongchuan, do you think that after 1,000 years, Brother Lingtian will still be in the Taoist realm? On the way back, Zhang Haishan couldn't help but ask Hong Dongchuan. It's hard to say. Hong Dongchuan shook his head at first. After all, there are many people who have reached this stage, let alone thousands of years. Even if they spend thousands or tens of thousands of years, they have not been able to enter the Hadao. But, Hong Dongchuan continued, those people may not be able to compare with Brother Lingtian in terms of talent and understanding. I have confidence in him, and I think he will enter the Hadao realm within 1,000 years. Zhang Haishan sighed, if this is the case, he won't be able to help us in the Dao duel 1,000 years later. It seems that I have to prepare for a rainy day. It doesn't matter if you lose after 1,000 years. It's like giving back the Hadao monument. If you lose 2 games in a row, you will lose all your foundation. Zhang Haishan's idea was actually shared by Divine Monk Yuhao. Even when Duan Lingshan's infinite path took a step further, Divine Monk Yuhao was doubting. Duan Lingtian was confident that he would reach the Hadao realm within 1,000 years, so he readily agreed to his request. However, even if he had such doubts, he would not be able to take back what he said. After all, Duan Lingtian was now worthy of the Kuhai Temple's initiative to befriend him. He did not see that the #1 person in the Kuhai Temple, the Yongye Divine Monk, regarded him as a forever friend. Duan Lingtian stayed in Kuhai Temple for 3 full years before leaving. When leaving, the Yongye Divine Monk saw him off personally. Brother, stop it. I will come back to meet you again when I have time in the future. Duan Lingtian said hello and then withdrew. After leaving the Kuhai Temple and returning to the Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, he first went back to Duan Mansion and stayed with his family for a month before heading to the capital to meet the royal family and prepare to inspect one of the 2 Hadao monuments in the hands of the royal family. 1. Here, he also met the Hadao realm ancestor from the royal family of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, who was also quite polite to him and even gave him a sermon in private. However, because the other party's method is not what he is good at, there is not much improvement. Little friend Lingtian, please choose one of these 2 Hadao steel. The ancestor of the Hadao realm of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom said, letting Duan Lingtian choose. This can be regarded as taking care of Duan Lingtian. You must know that in the past, Zhang Haishan didn't promise to give him the right to choose the Hadao monument. After all, Zhang Haishan couldn't make the decision yet. That's it. There are 2 Hadao tablets. The combined Tao has nothing to do with the Way of Sword and the Infinite Way. Duan Lingtian chose one of the Hadao tablets that contains the Way of Control. Time flies. 20 years passed in the blink of an eye. Boom. On this day, a loud noise that seemed to shake the earth spread in the sky of the royal family in the capital of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. Then all kinds of amazing visions appeared. Not only everyone in Zhonglan Divine Kingdom saw it, but even the nearby people saw it. Everyone can see it clearly. In the direction of the Bitter Sea Temple, the Yongye Divine Monk walked out, looked at the astonishing vision in the direction of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, and murmured to himself, "A new Hadao has been born. Could it be my little friend Ling Tian?" Chapter 4684. He broke through so quickly? Jiang Haishan, the 9th-level member of the royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, was standing with a middle-aged man with a strong build and a face as beautiful as jade. Looking at the center of the vision of heaven and earth, the storm shook with great force and bursts of strange sounds. Echoing in the void, it seems to be telling some mystery. And this scene is not unfamiliar to Jiang Haishan. The people around him had experienced this scene in the past. This is the vision of heaven and earth caused by stepping into Hadao. In the world of gods and earth, the only ones who can cause strange phenomena in the world are those who are strong in Hadao. It is different from the creation chart world where visions of heaven and earth can be seen everywhere, because the rules of the latter are set by the owner of the creation chart. Whatever visions you want it to have, there will be any visions. In the world of divine soil, not only is the space solid and indestructible, even a powerful person who has entered the Tao can hardly tear the space apart, and the visions of heaven and earth are not something you can see even if you want to see them. I didn't expect that his talent and understanding would be so evil. The middle-aged man on the side couldn't help but sigh. He is the Hadao strongman of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, named Jiang Tianjing, and he is also the highest-ranking person in the royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Even Jiang Haishan respects him as ancestor. The center of the storm of the heaven and earth vision. Before the vision appeared, the buildings in this area had been destroyed and turned into ruins. A figure sitting cross-legged in the void is looming in the vision of heaven and earth. Astonishingly, he was a young man wearing purple clothes, with a handsome face and an extraordinary temperament. All he could see was his sharp eyebrows and starry eyes. Even if he closed his eyes to rest, he still gave people an invisible oppression, making people dare not look directly at him. At this moment, the entire royal family was alarmed. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud noise from the sky, as if it was earth-shattering, and then thousands of strange phenomena gathered together, turning into a giant sword in the sky, standing upright on the sky, surrounded by countless small swords, and the number of small swords continued to increase. Even the strange phenomena of heaven and earth that spread around this place were all turned into small swords at this time. Countless small swords in the sky and the earth condensed and formed, surrounding the giant sword in the sky like stars over the moon. Even as the terrifying aura on the giant sword in the sky became more and more powerful, the number of small swords continued to increase, not only quickly covering the entire Jianglan Divine Kingdom, but also the surrounding areas of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and even the Bitter Sea God. The small half area of the temple was filled with small swords scattered in the air. This is also someone who broke through and entered Hadao. Looking at the vision of heaven and earth at this time, he is combining the way of sword and the way of infinity. Infinite Kendo. Although there are only dozens of powerful Hadao people in the Divine Land world, and there are only 3 people in Jianglan Divine Kingdom and nearby areas, at this time, many powerful Taoists guess that there is something new through the vision of heaven and earth in front of them. A strong man in the Hadao realm birth. Even it can be seen which 2 kinds of Tao are combined to achieve the harmonious state of Tao. Even in the Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City, a group of people were attracted by the vision on the horizon, especially Yu Xiao and Zhao Ani, who guessed that this was the birth of the Hadao realm. The Elephant Queen also gasped in unison. Angry, with a look of shock on his face, there was a bit of expectation deep in his eyes. The Hadao realm was a realm they had never heard of in the past 10,000 realms and the land outside the realm. Although they have now entered the 7th level of the Tao, and seem to be not far from the Hadao realm, they are not confident that they can take that step and enter the Hadao realm before their lifespans come to an end. I don't know who the saint is, but he has actually stepped into the realm of harmony. Zhao Ani sighed. Neither he nor Yu Xiao connected the vision of heaven and earth in front of them with Duan Ling Tian. After all, in their eyes, Duan Ling Tian is now just the 8th level of Taoism. The 2 of them did not even know about Duan Ling Tian before. Breaking through to the 9th level of the Tao. Although Duan Ling Tian came back 20 years ago, he did not mention this matter to them. However, several of his wives knew that he had broken through to the 9th level. Now, after seeing the vision of heaven and earth in front of them and learning that this was the birth of a powerful Hadao in the Jianglan Divine Kingdom, the 4 girls Kier, Huaner, Li Fei and Feng Tianwu all thought of it in unison. Their husband, Duan Ling Tian, is it Brother Tian? Definitely. Jianglan Divine Kingdom has not seen a second Hadao strongman for many years. The person who breaks through now will most likely be Brother Tian. 20 years ago, when Brother Tian left, he said he would attack the Hadao realm. That should be right. During the conversation between the 4 women, There was a hint of excitement in their tone. After all, that is the Hadao realm. After coming to the divine land world for a while, they have realized what kind of cultivation realm the Hadao realm is. It is the cultivation realm that stands at the pinnacle of the divine earth world. Looking at the entire divine earth world, with this cultivation for whom, only a few dozen people. Everyone is a giant in the world of gods and earth. For example, the Hadao level member of the royal family of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom is a giant on the side of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. With him, Zhonglan Divine Kingdom can continue to be passed on, unless he offends many Hadao level people and is killed together. Otherwise, even if it is other combinations in the Dao realm, as long as they are not sure of killing him at once, they will not dare to attack the Zhonglan Kingdom easily. Whoosh! In the main temple of Xueqi Temple, Yongye Divine Monk came out of the air and headed straight to Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, preparing to congratulate the strong man who had just broken through to the Hadao realm. In addition, I also want to confirm whether it is Duan Ling Tian. Although he guessed it was Duan Ling Tian, he didn't dare to be 100% sure until he saw the other party to confirm it thoroughly. In addition to the Eternal Night Divine Monk, in the sea area adjacent to the eastern border of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, on a huge island that looks like a paradise, there is also a person who flies through the air and enters Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, heading straight to the vision of heaven and earth. Go away with your heart. I really didn't expect that Zhonglan Divine Kingdom would produce another strong man in the Hadao realm. Is it that Zhang Haishan? With his talent, it is logically difficult for him to enter the Hadao realm. Well, just go and take a look and you'll find out. This person is the patron saint of the Xueqi Divine Island, behind the eastern sea area of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, and he is also the only Hadao realm powerhouse in Xueqi Divine Island. This. In the royal family of the capital of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, Hong Dongchuan had also rushed here. After confirming from the Zhonghai Pass that it was Duan Ling Tian who broke through, he was also shocked. He never expected that young man so quickly stepped into Hadao territory. How long has it been? The last time he sparred with the other party was only at the 8th level of Hadao realm. Thinking about it carefully, it seemed that it was less than 30 years ago, right? Congratulations to fellow Daoist Duan. When he saw Duan Ling Tian open his eyes, the Hadao realm expert from the royal family of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom reacted immediately and congratulated him continuously. Chapter 4685. Duan Ling Tian opened his eyes, and his eyes were filled with light, as bright as the scorching sun on the horizon, making people afraid to look directly at him. Faced with the congratulations of Zhang Tianjing, a strong man in the Hadao realm of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, Duan Ling Tian came to his senses immediately, smiled and nodded at the other party, and said with a friendly smile, "Senior, please protect me." Just now, he was in the process of breaking through the stability. Although he had the power to protect himself, his spiritual consciousness could not detect that Zhang Tianjing was protecting him. It's just a small thing. Zhang Tianjing shook his head and said with a smile, "Since you have now entered the Hadao realm, you don't need to call me senior. Just talk about being friends with me. If you think highly of me, just call me Brother Zhang." Haha. Okay, Brother Zhang. Duan Ling Tian smiled cheerfully, with great pride. After breaking through to the Hadao, he only felt that the way he looked at the world in front of him was different, except for the normal scenery he could see in the past, and you can still see the looming horizon like the rainbow dragon's infinite sword. That's the way he fits. This road belongs to an old road, which is covered with devastation, but it contains a heart-stopping ancient atmosphere of vicissitudes of life, as if it is a mystery from ancient times, mysterious and unpredictable. The path of harmony is to step on the path of harmony, fighting with others and fighting with heaven. If the Tao is too bad, it will be like hanging in the air with no place to stay. When fighting with others, you will naturally be at a disadvantage. If the path you follow is a path that no one has ever walked before, then it is a new path. The pioneers of the new way, when they first enter the Hadao realm, their strength is unmatched by those who are in the Hadao realm of the old way, because the Tao is new and will help them even more. On this point, before Duan Ling Tian made his breakthrough, he had heard it said by the Hadao realm Eternal Night Divine Monk from Xueqi Temple. To put it simply, the road is not broken yet and we can move forward smoothly. The old road is generally a bad road. It has been trampled over and over by people who have followed this road in various eras. Basically, every time a move is made, the road will be more consumed and devastated. When a strong Hadao man takes action, his greatest reliance is the power of Hadao, and this power of Hadao comes from the combined Tao. The strength in the body of a strong Taoist has not changed at all compared to the 9th level of the Taoj. Breakthrough is no longer like the past. It is a qualitative change of the power in the body. This time, the power has not undergone a qualitative change, not even a change. There is only one thing that has changed. That is, the Tao that I have performed in the past has been substantial. Transformed, I can take advantage of the more powerful it is given after its substantialization. With the power, take action against the enemy. The soul level has changed qualitatively. After joining the Tao, only the soul is improved, and the power in the body is still the power of entering the 9th level of the Tao. In fact, if you don't use the power of Hadao and only use the remaining 10,000 ways that have not yet been combined, you can't even defeat the normal 9th level of Dao. Of course, it is impossible for a strong Hadao man to take action without using the power of Hadao. If the Tao is borrowed too much from others, it is the same as the road being blocked by others. The strength that can be borrowed is not too strong. This is also the reason why the old way is not as good as the new way. However, it is not an easy task to join the new way. Otherwise, no one would choose to take shortcuts. For example, if the new owner or the old owner of the creation life chart wants to rely on the captive creatures in the creation life chart, the way of life sacrifice is a shortcut. The way of sacrifice is one of the most special ways among all the ways. It is impossible for ordinary people to come into contact with it, let alone understand and master it. Only the owner of the creation chart can understand it. This kind of Tao, no matter what kind of Tao it is combined with, the Tao that is born is a new Tao. In addition to this, the 3 paths merge into one, which is basically the new path. Because, without exception, the strong people who can embark on the integration of 3 paths are all talented people in the world of gods and earth. Their talents and understanding are astonishing. Even when 2 paths are combined, they can only follow the old path. When they take the 3rd path, when it comes to Tao, it is inevitable he will also choose a way that can combine with the original 2 to form a new way. In the world of gods and earth, any strong person who combines 3 ways will be remembered in history. It is no secret which 3 ways they use to combine the 3 ways. Infinite Sword Tao, in the past history of the divine earth world, many people have practiced it. Even now, according to what the Yongye divine monk said in the past, among the dozens of powerful Hadao masters in the contemporary divine earth world, there is still one who has practiced it. Also Infinite Kendo. After laughing, Duan Lingtian sighed secretly at the thought. Congratulations, Your Majesty. I have met Your Majesty. At this time, Jiang Haishan and Hong Dongchuan on the side bowed to Duan Lingtian, their voices full of awe. In the world of gods and earth, once you step into the Hadao realm, you are truly the most powerful person. A strong Hadao man, placed anywhere in the world of gods and earth, can be a king in hegemon. At this level, he can travel anywhere in the world of gods and earth, even if he encounters a Hadao who is stronger than himself. Even if he is defeated, he can escape. If Hadao wants to kill Hadao, he will not be able to escape unless the strength gap is huge or he finds an ingenious opportunity. Yes, otherwise it would be difficult to achieve. People in the world of gods and earth, when they meet a powerful person in the Hadao realm, they all respectfully call them venerable. Once you step into the Hadao realm, you can be called the honor of the divine land world. No matter how casual Hong Dongchuan was in front of Duan Lingtian in the past, he was not Duan Lingshan's best friend all the way. The moment Duan Lingtian entered the Hadao realm, he realized from the bottom of his heart that he and his opponent the gap between parties. Unless he can step into Hadao in his lifetime, he will never be able to look at Duan Lingtian with the same eyes he used to look at Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian also knew this, so he didn't say much, smiled and nodded to the 2 of them, and continued to meditate. Seeing this, the 2 of them didn't dare to disturb them. Even Jiang Tianjing continued to stand aside with a smile, looking very patient. Jiang Tianjing. Not long after, a voice came from the eastern sky. It was not loud, but it was extremely concentrated. Only Jiang Tianjing and Duan Lingtian beside him could hear it. Hearing this voice, Duan Lingtian came back to his senses and looked to the east above the clouds in the sky. His spiritual consciousness swept out, and he could feel that the spiritual consciousness that was not weaker than his was sweeping and colliding, which made him feel a tremble in his heart. Another Hadao strong man. Moreover, it is certain that he is not the eternal night monk from the Kuhai temple. Soon, a figure came from the east sky and appeared in front of Duan Lingtian. But it was a young man wearing a green robe, handsome in appearance, holding a folding fan in his hand, looking like a handsome young man. Zhou Qingchuan. Jiang Tianjing stared at the other party with lightning-like eyes, smiled calmly and said, I didn't expect that even a lazy person like you would come to our Zhonglan Divine Kingdom to join in the fun. Chapter 4686. Zhou Qingchuan. Although this is the first time Duan Lingtian has met this person, it is not the first time he has heard of him. Whether it was the Yongye Divine Monk, a powerful Hadao realm expert from Kuhai Temple, or Jiang Tianjing, a Hadao realm powerhouse from Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, they all told him about this person. This person is the first person on the Qionghai Divine Island east of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, and he is also a strong man in the Hadao realm. In the area surrounding Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, there are only 3 powerful people in the Hadao realm, so the 3 of them usually stay close to each other, and they often take the time to visit and discuss the Daoj. Ha ha! Lao Jiang, your Zhonglan Divine Kingdom is so awesome. Yet another Hadao realm person has appeared. Zhou Qingshan laughed, and his eyes quickly fell on Duan Lingtian. He still has a strange face. However, it's not what I expected, because I thought it was unlikely to be Jiang Haishan before. Jiang Haishan is still far away from Hadao. Hearing this, Jiang Haishan on the side smiled bitterly, but did not dare to say anything more. Speaking of which, Zhou Qingshan was still a figure of his generation. Whether compared with his ancestor Jiang Tianzheng or the Yongye Divine Monk from the Bitter Sea Temple, he was much younger. When he was young, he was overwhelmed by the opponent. At first, he wanted to chase the opponent, but after chasing him, he couldn't even see the opponent's back. Nowadays, the other party is as famous as their ancestors of the royal family of Zhonglan Kingdom. This person, in fact, cannot be completely regarded as a monk from our Zhonglan Divine Kingdom. Jiang Tianjing smiled and said, he can only be considered as half of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom at best. It is also our Zhonglan Divine Kingdom's good luck that he happened to come to us. Oh! After hearing Jiang Tiansheng's words, Zhou Qingshan looked at Duan Lingtian with surprise. Listen to what you said. Could this newly promoted fellow Taoist come from the world in the creation chart? A few years ago, the new owner of the creation life chart was discovered and seriously injured, and even the creation life chart was severely damaged. He knew this. Of course, the incident did not happen near Qionghai Island, so he was not involved. Otherwise, those who are targeting the new owner of the creation chart will inevitably invite him to participate in the extermination of evil. Yes, this brother Duan Lingtian comes from the world in the creation chart. Jiang Tianjing nodded. Zhou Qingshan's eyes lit up, and he raised his hands to Duan Lingtian. Fellow Taoist Duan, Zhou Qingshan is being polite. Fellow Taoist Zhou. Duan Lingtian returned the greeting, and then started chatting with the other party when the other party intentionally spoke to him. Knowing that Duan Lingtian still had relatives and friends living abroad, Zhou Qingshan repeatedly promised that he would have people spread the news about Duan Lingtian widely within the Qionghai Divine Island, so that Duan Lingshan's relatives and friends who may exist on the Qionghai Divine Island can be found in the first place. Time returns to Duan Lingtian. He would help send someone to bring them back. When Duan Lingtian heard this, he immediately thanked him repeatedly. Although Qionghai Divine Island is located in the eastern area of Zhonglan Divine Kingdom, due to the harsh environment of the surrounding sea areas, it is dangerous to cross the sea alone in ordinary ways. As a result, there is not much communication with the outside world, and most people live in a paradise state. Because of this, although Duan Lingtian has long been famous in Zhonglan Divine Kingdom and surrounding areas, Zhou Qingshan, who is on Qionghai Divine Island, has never heard of him. Otherwise, if someone here breaks through to the Hadao realm this time, he will definitely be able to pass. Duan Lingtian is good at 10,000 ways, and he guessed it on Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, Zhou Qingshan and Jiang Tianjing gathered together to chat, while Jiang Haishan and Hong Dongchuan stood aside silently and respectfully. Congratulations to fellow Taoist Duan. Soon, the travel-worn Yongye Divine Monk also arrived. Although he had guessed that more than 90% of the people who broke through were Duan Lingtian before he came here, it was not until he saw Duan Lingtian with his own eyes that he finally confirmed it. Duan Lingtian made a breakthrough, and the Yongye Divine Monk's name for him changed from little friend to fellow Taoist. Fellow Taoist Duan, although it is a good thing that you have entered Hadao, I still want to remind you. The Yongye Divine Monk said with a solemn expression. Although there are only a few dozen people in the Hadao realm in the world of gods and earth, before you break through, there is still one person who is also the Hadao swordsman and the infinite way. In the Hadao realm, if they are combined with the same Tao, once they attack at the same time, they will not be able to fully utilize the power of Hadao. Because of this, It is difficult to become friends even if you don't become enemies when you combine the same two ways. As the Yongye divine monk finished speaking, Jiang Tiansheng's expression became solemn. Not to mention the Yongye divine monk, I almost forgot about that person. At the same time, even Zhou Qingshan, who originally had a gentle smile on his face, could not help but tighten his face and his eyes became serious. Three of you, what are you? Duan Lingtian looked puzzled, wondering why the three of them were acting like this. Fellow Taoist Duan, Zhou Qingshan said in a deep voice. Before you, there was another person in the world of gods and earth who also practiced the infinite swordsmanship. You must also know that if the contract is in the Hadao realm of the same Tao and exists in the same era at the same time, it would be fine if we don't take action at the same time. If we do it at the same time, it will affect the performance of the other party. If one of them fights to the death with others, and the other person robs part of the power of Hadao at the same time, the opponent's offensive will be weakened, and they may even be defeated or even killed. As Zhou Qingshan finished speaking, Duan Lingshan's brows also wrinkled. So, not only will he affect another person in the world of God and earth who joins the infinite swordsmanship, but the other party will also affect him. Isn't this a natural enemy? If he is the only one, you don't need to be afraid of him, fellow Taoist Duanj. But the problem is, that man's grandfather is still alive, and he is one of the only three strong men in the Hadao realm who can combine the three ways in the world of gods and earth. Jiang Tianzheng looked at Duan Lingtian and warned, Brother, why don't you go out and hide? I'm worried that that person can't think of anything for a moment and brings his grandfather to deal with you. If he is alone, he may not be able to deal with you, but he can be added that grandfather. Even if you are lucky enough to escape, I'm afraid you won't feel well. Injured once and targeted a second time, it might be the end of life or death. In the world of gods and earth, although strong people in the Hadao realm are rarely killed by others, it is not that no one is killed. As Jiang Tianjing finished speaking, Yongye divine monk also gave Duan Lingtian the same advice. Zhou Qingshan also advised him from the side. Fellow Taoist Duan, you should hide and avoid the limelight. The meaning expressed by the three people was very obvious. There was no way to make enemies of those two people for Duan Lingtian. What they could do was to help Duan Lingtian prepare for a rainy day, and let Duan Lingtian hide early so as not to be caught by the other party. Duan Lingtian was speechless for a while, but he couldn't help but feel a little angry in his heart. He thought that after entering the Hadao realm, he would stand at the pinnacle of the world of gods and earth and not be afraid of anyone. Who would have known that just after this breakthrough, he would learn that he might suffer an unexpected disaster. The Hadao realm of the three Das. For a moment, Duan Lingshan's face became unsightly, but deep in his eyes, there was a cold and fierce light flashing. Chapter 46-87. In the world of gods and earth, the most powerful ones are those who combine the three realms. Next, there are the newer combined Tao realm experts who combine two Tao and the harmonious Tao. Although Duan Lingtian has also entered the Hadao realm, the infinite sword way he has joined belongs to the old path that many people in the world of gods have walked. It is now dilapidated, so the power of Hadao that he can draw on is limited. In this case, there are still people who want to compete with him for the power of harmony. Not to mention that the other party would be unhappy. Even he himself would be unhappy. Do you want to destroy me? I still want to kill you. However, after learning that the other party was not only a member of Hadao, but also a grandfather of Hezendeo behind him, and might even lead his grandfather to attack him, Duan Lingshan's heart sank, and at the same time, he also felt a sense of conflict deep in his heart. Quantity of yearning. In the third path, he must merge into the infinite sword path. The way of control, integrating the three ways of infinite swordsmanship, and combining them. No one has ever taken this path in the history of the world of gods and earth. Now, his control has reached the 8th level, which is comparable to that of old man Wukong back then. As long as he steps further to the 9th level, he can embark on the path of combining the three ways. I hope he will be wiser and not mess with Mia. Otherwise, even if he has a grandfather who combines three ways, I will kill him. Duan Lingshan's eyes flashed with murderous intent. He has never been a submissive person. Otherwise, he would not have achieved what he has today. Most of his cultivation and promotion path was accomplished by force. Taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian looked at Jiang Tianjing and asked about that person's situation. After learning that the man behind him was also an ancient family with a great business, Duan Lingtian felt relieved. In this way, he didn't worry about the other party being angry with his family and friends if they couldn't catch him. Jiang Tianzheng and the other three also bluntly said that the other party has more wives and children than Duanling Tian, and they are not in the Hadao realm without any worries. Moreover, if the competition between the Hadao realm involves the other party's relatives and friends, it will anger the rest of the world of gods and earth. A strong man in the Hadao realm who has a family and a sect. After all, no one wants a strong person in the same situation to break this bottom line. It couldn't be easier for a strong person in the Hadao realm to really go crazy and want to kill the family, friends, or even disciples of another strong person in the Hadao realm. Brother, if you are worried, bring your family and friends to the imperial city. Here, as long as I am here, I can take care of them. Jiang Tianjing said bluntly. Thank you very much, Brother Jiang. Duanling Tian thanked him repeatedly. He also felt that this was safer, and even if he did not plan to hide, he would not continue to stay in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Because, the moment he stepped into the Hadao realm, he faintly felt the atmosphere of his former homeland. He knew that it should be the breath of the wounded creation life. This surprised him. Because, as far as he knew, the new owner of the creation life chart was the Tian Dao of the former world and the land outside the world. He was a strong man in the Hadao realm. After being besieged, he narrowly escaped death and brought him to the world. Escaped with the damaged creation chart, there was no news from him until the day he was born, and his whereabouts have not been found to this day. But now, he can sense where the other person is. To be precise, it is the location of the creation chart. Is it possible that because I am a life born from the world created in the creation chart, I can sense the direction of home after I step into the Hadao realm? Duanling Tian could only explain it in his mind like this. Apart from that, he really couldn't figure out why he could sense that aura after breaking through the Hadao. Therefore, after settling his family and friends, he planned to visit the hiding place of the new owner of the creation chart. Now, not many years have passed since the last time the other party was seriously injured. Even if the opponent was stronger than him in his heyday, his injuries may not have healed now. As long as he is still injured, he is not afraid of the opponent. Let's see if we can the creation life chart. Duanling Tian is not very interested in the way of life sacrifice that can be understood after getting the creation life chart. He wants to get the creation life chart because he wants to see if his former hometown of Wanjie, the land outside the world, can still exists. The last time, the new owner of the creation life pan was besieged. He was in the world and saw the world collapse with his own eyes, and he was also thrown out of that world. In addition, while being thrown out, he also saw the Tower of Babel shattered. It seems that all the gods who were in the Tower of Babel at that time had been eliminated by the new owner of the creation life chart. In other words, it has become the other party's food and nourishment. I hope that the world of the 10,000 realms and the land beyond the boundary will still be there. Although the world of the divine land is good, it is still not as good as the homeland. Even if Duanling Tian has reached this point, he still cannot forget his homeland. If he has the chance, he still wants to go back to your hometown to live, practice, spend time with your family, and be quiet, sit quietly and watch the clouds roll and relax. In the past, he had thought that if he could step into the Hadao realm, he would see if there was a chance to obtain the creation life chart, reopen his homeland, and let his family and friends, as well as those who wanted to return to the original world and the land outside the world, creatures, all one get up and go back. Of course, he didn't tell the three great unions in front of him about being able to sense the breath of the creation life chart. Once you say it, it will definitely cause trouble. The existence of the creation chart is too sensitive for Hadao in the world of gods and earth. He could even foresee that if he could really obtain the creation chart, once the news spreads, even if he did not practice the way of life sacrifice, those in the world of gods and earth would not be able to let him go. To be precise, it is impossible to let go of the creation chart. Fellow Taoist Yongya, fellow Taoist Zhou, then I will go pick up my family and friends first. We will get together again when we have the opportunity. After saying hello to the Yongya divine monk and Zhou Qingshan, Duan Lingshan's figure disappeared in a flash. At the same time, on the infinite sword path on the horizon, an undercurrent surged, sweeping all the way towards Chuzhou. After entering the Hadao realm, Duan Lingtian used the power of Hadao to return to the sky above Duan Mansion in Chuzhou City within a short time. Is that person also borrowing power? When he was approaching Chuzhou City, Duan Lingtian could feel that the power of infinite sword Dao was being borrowed by someone else. It was not difficult to guess that it was the one who had mastered it just like him. Those who practice unlimited swordsmanship are also borrowing the skills of unlimited swordsmanship. The power of harmony. In a place extremely far away from Jianglan Divine Kingdom. In an ancient city that is located deep in the mountains and looks like a giant beast, a figure stands in the sky. The looming sword light roars around it. It is very sharp. The terrifying sword intent sweeps across all directions, making people afraid to approach. This is a young man wearing a green robe. He has a resolute face and a superb temperament, but his brows are furrowed together at this moment. There are actually people who have entered the Hadao realm with unlimited swordsmanship? Although there were strange phenomena when he entered the Hadao realm, when Duan Ling Tian broke through, the strange phenomena also swept across the area near Jianglan Divine Kingdom. This place was far away and could not be seen. In addition, the news has not reached here yet, so this person only guessed that someone had joined the Infinite Way in Kendo and entered the Hadao realm by discovering that others were also borrowing the power of the Infinite Kendo. This is undoubtedly a huge bad thing for him. Who is it? The green-robed young man's face was gloomy, with murderous intent in his eyes. Looking at the world of the eyes and earth, among those who are hopeful of joining the Tao realm, who doesn't know that I am joining the Tao of Infinite Swordsmanship? How dare you combine the Infinite Way and the Sword Way to enter the Combined Way realm? You think I'm easy to bully? Chapter 4688. The world of Divine Land is so big and vast that even a strong person in the Hadao realm can travel at full speed and circle around the world of Divine Earth. Even without considering the obstacles that may be encountered on the way, it will not take more than a few months. There is no way to finish the walk. You know, even Duan Ling Tian, a newly promoted Hadao, only took less than a quarter of an hour to return from Zhangzhou, where the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom is, to Chuzhou City, where Duan Mansion is located. It can be seen that the Hadao realm is strong. Speed so fast and outrageous. To the north of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom is the endless sword territory, and to the east and south are the boundless seas. After the eastern sea is the Qionghai Divine Island, and there is land a long way after the southern sea area. The land there is far away from the Jianglan Divine Kingdom. It is better than walking 10 times around the 4 borders of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Even if Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Endless Sword Domain, Qionghai Divine Island and Bitter Sea Temple located to the west of Jianglan Divine Kingdom are put together, they are actually just a corner in the world of Divine Land. Although there used to be 3 major Hideos here, and there were only a few dozen Hideos in the world of gods and earth. However, the reason why the 3 major Hideos gathered here is because this area is suitable for human survival, and they all like to be here. Bien on Jia, even if it is an outsider coming from some dangerous place outside, staying here for a while, also unwilling to leave. In the world of the gods, there are shocking crises lurking in many places. Of course, after a crisis, there are often some chance encounters. Practitioners who emerge from desperate situations and understand a certain Tao that they have never come into contact with before are everywhere in the world of gods and earth. The Wanshan family is a family that has been passed down for countless years in the Wanshan domain of the Divine Land world. In the contemporary world of the Divine Earth, it is one of the top forces. Just because Wanshan Chen's Shuang Hadao, one of them, He Dao, is one of the only few strong men in the world of God and Earth who can combine the 3 Dao. Grandfather, there is someone who follows the path of infinity and swordsmanship. He wants to steal my power of Hadaoj. I want to kill him. The young man wearing a green robe is also one of the 2 contemporary Hadao masters of the Wanshan Chen family. One of them, Chen Mingho, took the initiative to find his grandfather, another Hadao strongman of the Wanshan Chen family, a Hadao who was more powerful than him. The powerful master of the 3 paths. What? After hearing his grandson's words, Chen Jiuxiao, who looked like a middle-aged man, couldn't help but frown, looking at the entire world of gods and earth. Who doesn't know that your path of harmony is the path of infinity and kendo? Even if some people have deeper attainments in the first 2 paths, in order to avoid you when they attack the combined path, they will choose to comprehend another path and combine with the infinite path or the sword path. How dare you forcefully merge the infinite way and the sword way into the combined way? Are you trying to make enemies of our Wanshan Chen family? When the words fell, Chen Jiaxiu's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and his face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost in an instant. Even if you don't fear his grandson, you should still worry about him, right? Even if you don't give him face as a grandson, you dare to ignore him? Do you know who it is? Chen Jiuxiao asked in a deep voice. Chen Mingho shook his head. We don't know yet. It will probably take some time before we know who he is. Good. Chen Jiuxiao nodded, a cold light raging in his eyes. When I know who he is, if I have a chance, I will take action. If you and I join forces, even if we can't save him the first time, we will definitely be able to save half of his life. As long as we can find him again within a short period of time, he will definitely die. Chen Jiuxiao is still very confident about his own strength. After receiving his grandfather's approval, Chen Mingho's expression relaxed a lot, and at the same time he changed the topic and asked, "Grandpa, is there any news recently about the new owner of the creation chart, Yuluaha?" "No." Chen Jiuxiao shook his head and sighed. That guy cherishes his life very much. Not only did he use the life-saving means that we had prepared long ago when we surrounded him last time, but he even took away the creation life chart. Got it. As soon as he left, I knew it wouldn't be that easy to catch him again. Now it seems that it is indeed the case. After hearing this, Chen Mingho also sighed. It would be great if we could find him in private and steal the creation chart. If only our grandfather and grandson could find him in the present on the basis of the Tao, combined with the Tao of living sacrifice, the world of gods and earth will be restored. Who is the opponent of our grandfather and grandson? As he spoke, Chen Mingho couldn't help but reveal a bit of greed in his eyes. It's easier said than done. Chen Jiuxiao shook his head. Although everyone shouts about the way of living sacrifice, in fact, how many of those guys don't want to take that way? It's just that they don't want anyone to take that way, so we all choose to intercept that one. The right way. After all, the way of living sacrifice is not only a rare way among all the ways, but also a way that no one has practiced in the world of gods and earth. This kind of Tao, once the combination is successful, the power of the combination it promotes can be imagined. In the world of gods and earth, how many people have reached the level of cultivation that is the Hadao realm and do not ignore the common people? Do you really think that everyone is compassionate and compassionate? Isn't it because everyone is rushing to attack the owner of the creation chart because they are worried that others will use the creation chart to get ahead of them? Not only was he involved in the siege and killing of the new owner of the creation life chart, but he was also involved in the past action of besieging and killing the old owner of the creation life chart. However, at that time, he had not yet joined the third path, and was only in the world of gods and earth. One of the Cheng Hido. To kill the old master of the creation life chart, he relied entirely on a few other strong men who combined the three paths. It's a good thing you didn't mention this. You suddenly mentioned this, and I remembered something. Chen Jiuxiao's eyes flashed. Back then, before the old owner of the creation life pan was besieged and killed, we heard each other mention it. In the creation world, there are also beings with the same strength as the 9th level of the Tao, but they all became him. The nourishment not only helped him to enter the 9th level of the way of life sacrifice, but was even about to successfully merge with the way. That time, there was no life left in the world of creation and horoscopes. But this time, the creation life chart was damaged, and many creatures from the creation life chart world fled to the divine land world. Among them, there are probably some who are comparable to the 9th level of the Tao. The new Hadao who joins the infinite kendo you are talking about doesn't come from the world of the creation life plan, right? After coming to the world of gods and earth, he successfully merged with the Tao? If that's the case, he doesn't know that you are combining the infinite way and Sword Tao, and he doesn't know that combining infinite Sword Tao will offend you and offend our Wanshanshan family, so it's normal. Hearing this, Chen Mingho also felt that this was possible, but his murderous intent remained unabated. Regardless of whether he knows my existence or not, he must die. If he doesn't die, someone will always be able to steal the power of unlimited swordsmanship from me. Chapter 4689. The Wanshanshan sect is the absolute dominant force in the Wanshan domain, and is even one of the top forces in the entire divine land world. With such a force, the intelligence department under their control is naturally not mediocre. About half a month later, the intelligence department of the Wanshanshan family found out that a new Hadao had appeared in the distant Jianglan kingdom. Calculating the time, it should be one of their ancestors of the Wanshanshan family, who was keen on the new one. I asked about a strong man in the Hadao realm who joins the infinite swordsmanship. Jianglan Divine Kingdom? Reverse Divine Sword. Duan Ling Tian? From the creation chart world? When the two Hadao members of the Wanshanshan family, Chen Jiuxiao and Chen Mingho, learned about the information about the new Hadao, they got together again. Grandpa, it seems that as you guessed, the newly promoted Hadao really comes from the world of creation and destiny. Chen Mingho spoke in a deep voice, with murderous intent deep in his eyes. It's actually not hard to guess. Chen Jiuxiao said calmly. If you don't say anything else, I will just tell you that I am walking the same path as you. Not many Taoist monks in the world of gods and earth would dare to do this kind of thing. After all, that would offend our Wanshanshan family. Only visitors from another world from the world of creation and natal charts would embark on this path without knowing it. And even when newborn calves are not afraid of tigers. However, whether he did it intentionally or not, since it has affected you, naturally you can't keep him. I will go with you to the Jianglan Divine Kingdom and try to kill him. Even if I can't kill him, I will seriously injure him. In this way, as long as he can be found out in a short time, he can be killed. Hearing Chen Jiuxio's words, Chen Mingho's eyes lit up and a cruel smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Visitors from another world? Duan Ling Tian from the inverse god realm? If you want to blame it, just blame it on you for accidentally embarking on the same path as me. Otherwise, there will definitely be a place for you in this world of gods and earth. It's a pity that you have offended me and our Wan Shanshan family. Even if you step into the Hadao realm, you are bound to die. Soon. Chen Zhouxiao and Chen Mingho left the Wan Shanshan family, left the Wan Shan domain, and went directly to Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Wan Shan domain was some distance away from Jianglan Divine Kingdom, but at their speed, they arrived at Jianglan Divine Kingdom in just a few days, and went to the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom as soon as possible. Because of the news they received, although Duan Lingshan's Duan Mansion used to be in Chuzhou City, after he was promoted to the Hadao realm, it was moved to the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Duan Ling Tian. In the sky above Duan Mansion in the capital, Chen Mingho stood alone in the sky, overlooking the ground below. The sound was transmitted, not only throughout the Duan Mansion, but even spread throughout the entire capital. I am Chen Mingho, member of the Wan Shanshan family. I'm here this time to invite you to a battle to determine the future ownership of infinite swordsmanship. As Chen Mingho finished speaking, the Duan Mansion was shaken up and down. A strong man from the Hadao realm comes to your door? Before that, everyone in the Duan family also knew that Duan Ling Tian had been promoted to Hadao, and became one of the only dozens of Hadao realm experts in the world of gods and earth. Everyone was surprised by this, because in this way, they would be in this divine land. Earth world you can also survive in a better and superior way. Unexpectedly, less than a month after moving here, another Hadao realm strongman came to the door and invited Duan Ling Tian to fight with him. Hong Mansion. Hearing the sound, Hong Dongquan's expression changed slightly. It's Chen Mingho. He's here so soon? Although Hong Dongquan has only entered the 8th level of the Dao, as an aboriginal of the divine land world, at his level, he is also very familiar with the strong ones in the Hadao realm. Chen Mingho is the Hadao realm achieved by combining the Infinite Way and the Sword Way into one. After knowing that Duan Ling Tian also entered the Hadao realm with these two methods, he also felt that Duan Ling Tian would offend Chen Mingho, and Chen Mingho might even come to trouble Duan Ling Tian. But he didn't expect it to come so soon. Royal Compound. Jiang Haishan frowned. As the patron saint of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, Jiang Tianjing and Duan Ling Tian stepped into Hadao realm, the only Hadao realm in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. At this time, they also walked out of the royal courtyard. In the blink of an eye, Feng Su Yufeng arrived near Chen Mingho. Confront it and stand. Jiang Tianjing? The strong men in the Hadao realm who were both in the world of gods and earth naturally knew each other. Chen Mingho nodded to Jiang Tianjing and said hello. I am here for you Jianglan, the newly promoted Hadao Duan Ling Tianer of the Kingdom of God. Come on, it has nothing to do with you. Although he might not be Jiang Tiansheng's opponent if they really wanted to fight, it would not be easy for Jiang Tianjing to defeat him. Moreover, there is a strong man from the 3 ways beside him hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity. Fellow Taoist Chen, I have no intention of interfering in the matter between you and Duan Ling Tian. Jiang Tianjing shook his head and smiled. I came here to tell you that Duan Ling Tian is no longer in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He left Jianglan Divine Kingdom with several of his close relatives more than half a month ago. Are you afraid that it's too late? Hearing this, Chen Mingho frowned and his expression sank. At the same time, the tyrannical consciousness swept out and enveloped the entire Duan Mansion, and indeed no trace of Duan Ling Tian was found. For a moment, his face turned ugly. At the same time, he looked at Jiang Tianjing with an unkind look and said in a deep voice, Jiang Tianjing, before Ling Tian stepped into the Hadao realm, he might not have known that there was me in the world of gods and earth, who was also Hadao of the Infinite Sword. It was you who told him of? His departure was also because of your reminder? Facing Chen Mingho's almost interrogative inquiry, Jiang Tiansheng's brows instantly furrowed. Although he did not want to provoke Chen Mingho and had no intention of becoming an enemy of the Wan Shanshan family behind Chen Mingho, it did not mean that he was afraid of Chen Mingho. Both are Hadao, and because Hadao is newer, he is stronger than Chen Mingho. If he hadn't been afraid that there was a strong man behind Hadao, Chen Mingho would have made a strong move long ago based on Chen Mingho's current attitude. Already. Now, although he would not take action, he still said in a cold tone, Chen Mingho, it's best not to talk nonsense without evidence. In the world of gods and earth, we know that you, Chen Mingho, are in the infinite sword Dao. Do you think you are the only one in the He Dao realm? In the world of gods and earth, among all the beings above the 7th level of the Dao, except for those who have no information, who doesn't know that you, Chen Mingho, are practicing the infinite sword Dao? Chen Mingho was about to speak, but someone spoke before him. Fellow Taoist Zhang, it was my grandson who took the liberty. How about I apologize to you on his behalf? Accompanied by a powerful voice, it was Chen Jiuxiao who had been hiding in the dark just now, confirming that Duan Ling Tian was not outside the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and he no longer needed to hide. Zhang Tiansheng's brows moved slightly. As expected, this old is here too. Chapter 4690. I've met Senior Chen. Although he secretly scolded the other party for being insidious and being in the three-way Hadao realm, he was still hiding in the dark waiting for an opportunity to attack, but on the surface Zhang Tianjing greeted the other party with a friendly face. I said that fellow Taoist Chen has such a bad temper, I bet it was Senior Chen who came here with him. As for apology, there is no need. Even though they were both in the Hadao realm, Zhang Tianjing was not a match for the Chen Jiuxiao in front of him, because he knew that the other party would not team up with Chen Mingho to attack him because of such a trivial matter. Moreover, with his strength, it is possible to return the whole body at the cost of minor injuries. However, once the two of them take action against him, they will fight him to the death, and they will really fight with their lives. At worst, the lives of the entire royal family of the Jianglan Divine Kingdom will be exchanged for the restlessness of the Chen family in Wanshan. Of course, he knew that the other party would not take action against him. After all, there was no interest dispute between him and the other party. A mere verbal conflict does not rise to the level of a life-and-death fight. This time, the two men came to see Duan Ling Tian simply because Duan Ling Tian embarked on the path of the infinite sword Dao and had a conflict of interest with Chen Mingho, so they wanted to deal with Duan Ling Tian. For the strength of Chen Mingho and the strength of the Wanshan family, it is normal for them to want to eradicate Duan Ling Tian. It's a pity that the two of them came to nothing. Before that, he had warned Duan Ling Tian with the person from the Bitter Sea Temple and the Qionghai Divine Island, so that Duan Ling Tian had already left long ago. Duan Ling Tian was even worried about the safety of his close relatives, and even brought out his close relatives. Went for resettlement. In this regard, he actually felt that Duan Ling Tian was a little too cautious, because he was sure that as long as Duan Ling Tian did not die, even if Duan Lingshan's close relatives stayed here, the two members of the Wanshan family would never be able to do anything to Duan Ling Tian. Start with your loved ones. Once they do that, they will become the public enemies of the world of gods and earth. In that case, let's take our leave first. Chen Jiuxiao took a deep look at Zhang Tianjing, and then left with Chen Mingho. While leaving, Chen Mingho said in a deep voice, Grandpa, that Ling Tian came from the creation life plan world. He may not know that I master the infinite sword Dao, and he may not know that you and I will take action against him after he is promoted to He Daoj. It must have been Zhang Tianjing who tipped off the news. He felt that if Zhang Tianjing hadn't tipped off the news, Duan Ling Tian might not have been able to take such precautionary measures without leaking anything. So what? Chen Jiuxiao said calmly. If he doesn't admit this kind of thing, how can we press his head and make him admit it? Don't forget, he is also a Hadao, and he is a Hadao who is stronger than you. Unless this kind of person can be killed directly, once he becomes an enemy, it will be harmful to our Wanshan family. Hearing this, Chen Mingho's face darkened further, his eyes flashed with unwillingness, but he also knew that even if he was unwilling in his heart, there was nothing he could do. The Wanshan family had made him a success, but now it also became a hindrance to him. In other words, it was not only his constraints, but also his grandfather's constraints. But, can they give up on the Wanshan family? Of course it's impossible. After all, the current main direct lineage of the Wanshan family is the descendants of him and his grandfather. They are all descendants with their blood flowing in their bodies. They have no way to care about their life or death. Compared to this, Zhang Tianjing did not leave any descendants. The reason why he protected the royal family of Jianglan Divine Kingdom was simply because it was the headquarters of his Zhang family. It would be far less difficult for Jiang Tianjing to give up on the Jiang family than it would be for them to give up on the Wan Shanchen family. This is also the reason why Jiang Tianjing is still strong in front of his grandfather. If Jiang Tianjing is really angered, Jiang Tianjing can knock the table off. Grandpa, since Duan Ling Tian knew that we would cause trouble for him and left, I'm afraid it won't be easy to find him next. I feel like a knot in my throat is at the thought of such a person contending with me, Chen Mingho said in a reluctant tone. Chen Jiuxiao sighed. There is nothing we can do now, we can only take one step at a time. Duan Ling Tian, since he has entered the Hadao realm, he shouldn't hide directly. Let's pay more attention to the news about him. Once confirm his whereabouts and well take action. That's all it can do. Chen Mingho nodded, his eyes full of unwillingness. Although Jiang Tianjing, Yongya Divine Monk and Zhou Qingchuan all said that even if their close relatives stayed in the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, the two Hadao of the Wan Shanchen family would not be able to take action against them, Duan Ling Tian was still worried. So, he took everyone away. They were placed in a small country that looked like a paradise, located further north of the Endless Sword territory to the north of Jianglan Divine Kingdom. With Yu Xiao's invincible strength in this small country, he was able to protect his loved ones. Nowadays, those who stay in Duan Mansion of Jianglan Divine Kingdom are basically people who have fled to the Divine Land world from the 10,000 realms and the lands outside the boundary to seek refuge with Duan Ling Tian. The people over there, headed by Zhao Ani, are in charge of Duan Mansion and continue to receive old friends from Wanjie and beyond. It is impossible to withdraw. After all, Duan Ling Tian still has many relatives and friends who have not been found. For example, there is no news about his son Duan Yantian, and it is not known where he has wandered in the world of gods and earth. When his wife Li rose secretly, he often sheds tears for this, and Duan Ling Tian couldn't help but feel heavy every time he saw this. However, his mentality is relatively good, and he feels that he has entered the Hadao realm. As long as his son is still alive, once he hears his name, he will definitely travel thousands of miles to the capital of Jianglan Divine Kingdom and return to Duan Mansion. I'll leave this to you. After settling his relatives and friends, Duan Ling Tian said hello to Yu Xiao and then left. Next, he wants to find the new owner of the creation chart. Of course, he didn't tell anyone about this. Even Yu Xiao didn't know what he was going to do. He just thought that he was going to go out and make a name for himself in the entire divine world, so as to find those old friends who were living abroad. He is still injured, so this is a good opportunity for me. It would be perfect if I could kill him and get the creation life chart in my hand. Following the breath of the creation life chart he sensed after entering the Hadao realm, Duan Ling Tian followed it all the way, thinking next, when you meet the current owner of the creation chart, you will definitely have to have a fierce battle, otherwise it will be difficult to conquer the creation. The natal chart is snatched. The opponent was injured, so he was very sure of defeating him, but it was very difficult to kill him. Even if the opponent's injury has not healed, he is still a genuine Hadao realm powerhouse, and he was even more powerful in the Hadao realm in his heyday before the injury than he is now. Chapter 4691. The Sea of Storms and Thunder is one of the many dangerous places in the world of gods and earth. Storms rage here all year round, thunder is entangled, and there are many dangers. The terrifying power of nature makes even ordinary Taoists dare not get involved easily. At this time, in the center of the Storm Thunder Sea, deep in the vast sea, there was a cave hidden under the sea. The cave is simple, with only a stone platform inside. At this time, sitting on the stone platform was a middle-aged man wearing a dark blue robe, with a thin body and ordinary appearance, but with a pair of bright eyes. In his hand, he was holding a strange disc. There is something empty on it. The shadow flickers like a holographic projection, looking mysterious and unpredictable. Finally, the world inside has been stabilized again. Yu Luaha breathed a sigh of relief, his eyes flashing. Next, I will also be able to quickly recover from my injuries with the help of some creatures in the creation life chart. With my further attainments in the way of living sacrifice now, I no longer need to be as timid as before. While muttering to himself, Yu Luaha's eyes showed a bit of coldness. In the past, because his attainments in the way of life sacrifice were still shallow, after he obtained the creation life chart and constructed the world inside, in order to prevent the creatures inside from getting out of control, he set many restrictions for them. In the end, the last line of defense is the forbidden tribulation. With the taboo ring guarding the door, no matter how evil the creatures in the world of creation are, they can only reach the 6th level at most and cannot escape his control. Otherwise, once a large number of existences above the 7th level appear, it will be difficult to control him based on his attainments in the path of living sacrifice at that time. After all, his attainments in that path are still far away from the previous attainments of the old master of the path of living sacrifice. There is a long way to go. This creation chart is really a divine thing. Even I, who is in the Hadao realm, can't ignore its rules without destroying it or the world created on it. Although he, Yuluaha, is the new owner of this creation life chart, before he masters the way of life sacrifice to a certain extent, he can also construct the world based on it, but he also needs to follow some of its rules. For example, there is no way to directly wipe out all life in the world of the creation chart. You can only spend some money and take advantage of the loopholes in the rules. For example, the Tower of Babel a few years ago was a platform he built to harvest resources. As long as the creatures in the creation life chart world enter it, he can use it to harvest those creatures. Last time the creation chart was damaged, not only a large number of living beings died, but also a large number of living beings wandered to all parts of the divine land. Thinking of what happened last time, Yuluaha couldn't help but feel a pain in his body. If his whereabouts had not been exposed and he was surrounded and killed by a group of Hadao realm experts, he would not have been so passive. Not only was the creation chart damaged, but he himself was also seriously injured. What a pity. It's not easy for some high-quality materials to appear, but basically they all end up in the world of gods and earth. Thinking of the qualifications that he was interested in that could reach the 7th level or above, even though he had had many headaches, it did not affect Yuluaha's current feeling of disappointment. Suddenly, Yuluaha's consciousness was shaken, and his expression changed instantly. Not good dash. Someone from the Hadao realm is here. Yuluaha never expected that he had been hiding for many years. Even though this place was in a secluded location, and he didn't go out to show off, why would someone from the Hadao realm come here to chase him? Moreover, it came directly towards him. Call out! A terrifying and shocking sword light descended from the sea, and it seemed to split the entire sea into two in an instant. The terrible pressure of the deep sea seems insignificant in front of this sword light, as if it is not worth mentioning, and its impact on it is almost non-existent. Boom! There was a loud noise, but it was Yuluaha who evacuated the cave first, avoiding the terrifying sword light. At the same time, his face became extremely solemn. Infinite Sword Dao? Is this Chen Mingho from the Wanshanchen family? Thinking of Chen Mingho, Yuluaha's eyes couldn't help but reveal some fear. Before he was injured, he really didn't take Chen Mingho's Hadao realm seriously, because the other party was not his opponent. And there is nothing that the other party can fear than the other Wanshanchen family's Hadao behind him, Chen Jiuxiao. Chen Jiuxiao is one of the few superpowers in the world of gods and earth who combines the three realms. His strength is much stronger than what he was in his heyday. Last time, Chen Mingho was among those who surrounded and killed him, including Chen Jiuxiao. Chen Mingho is here. 9 times out of 10, Chen Jiuxiao is coming too. Without any hesitation, Yuluaha's first thought was to escape. He didn't even intend to fight with the opponent. He showed amazing speed in the deep sea, constantly flashing, and however, many underwater creatures were knocked away by him, one by one turned into powder under the impact of the extremely terrifying force. The deep sea is turbulent, and the violent vibrations caused by the terrifying power are like the scythe of death, harvesting all the deep sea creatures in a large area around it. The response is quick. The power around him was shaking brightly, like a young man enveloped by a huge sword light, rushing into the deep sea, chasing Yuluaha at a lightning speed, with a light in his eyes. This person is naturally not Chen Mingho. Nowadays, in the world of gods and earth, in the Hadao realm where the infinite way in swordsmanship can be successfully combined, in addition to Chen Mingho, there is another Duan Lingtian. Of course, Yuluaha has been hiding here, and naturally he has not received any news about Duan Lingshan's breakthrough and promotion to Hadao. Duan Lingtian continued to chase Yuluo. Seeing that the distance between the two was getting closer and closer at a slow speed, an extremely hot luster rose in his eyes, and the creation chart was in sight. At the same time, he also looked at the back of the figure he was following. This person should be the new owner of the creation chart, Yuluaha. When Duan Lingtian was chasing Yuluaha, Yuluaha soon discovered that there was only one person behind him. His unfolded consciousness covered a large area of the nearby sea, and no second person was found. It's really true that a tiger is bullied by a dog. If I were in my heyday, Chen Mingho would not have the courage to chase me. Yuluaha couldn't help but laugh at himself. The last time he managed to escape from so many Hadao-level attacks was because he used the life-saving means at the bottom of the box. Now, he no longer has those life-saving means to rely on. Therefore, even if he faced Chen Mingho's level of Hadao, he knew that he would be in danger this time. The heavenly words that appeared in the world and outside the world in the past were created by you specially, right? Seeing that he was about to catch up with Yuluaha, Duan Ling Tian asked with interest. He also didn't expect that one day he would still have to hunt down Tian Dao. Chapter 4692. In the abyss-like sea area, storms shook and thunder flashed. The sea water, which was shaking like boiling water, was suddenly rushed out of a channel rising into the sky by a swift figure. Yuluaha ran out with an ugly expression. In his opinion, his chance of survival lay in the sea. In the deep sea of this sea of storms and thunder, storms are relatively calm. The most terrifying storms and thunders are above the sea. As long as he breaks out of the sea, even if the storm outside is difficult to stop the opponent, the other party wants to accurately attack. It's not that easy to keep an eye on him, because the storm outside will not only affect the field of vision, but even affect the spiritual consciousness to a certain extent. His consciousness was affected, and it was not easy for the other party to target him. Damn dash! Chen Mingho dares to chase me alone. Yuluaha looked aggrieved. He is also a famous figure in the world of gods and earth. The last time he faced many Hadao who joined forces, the people in the world of gods and earth, it seemed that he was destined to die. The group of Hadao who surrounded and killed him also felt the same way, but it was too late. But he escaped from death. In that battle, he escaped successfully at the cost of serious injuries to himself and damage to his birth chart, and at the same time, he shocked the entire world of gods and earth. It can be said that after that battle, although he was injured and in physical pain, his heart was happy. After all, he, Yuluaha, was the first to escape from the alliance of the top Hadao in the world of gods and earth. For example, the old master of the creation life chart in the past was slaughtered when faced with a siege, and his body and soul disappeared. The fact that he was able to do this in Luo, he undoubtedly shows that he is stronger than the old master of the creation chart. Although his current attainments in the way of living sacrifice are not as good as those of the other party, his reputation in the world of gods and earth is already greater than that of the other party. As for the way of living sacrifice, as long as he can survive well, as long as he is given time, he will be able to rely on it sooner or later. Creation the horoscope takes it a step further. Not only does he need to understand the way of living sacrifice to the 9th level, but he also needs to integrate the way of living sacrifice into the 2 ways that he originally combined. As long as the 3 paths are completed, looking at the entire world of gods and earth, he really has nothing to fear. Even if he faced the last siege, he would still have enough strength to retreat calmly, and he would not need to rely on any special means of escape. Recently, Yuluaha has been hiding in the depths of this sea of storms and thunder, preparing to recuperate from his injuries while repairing the creation life chart, and then participate in the way of life sacrifice, and then continue his unfinished feat. He is already looking forward to the scene in the future when the 3 of them will combine to traverse the world of gods and earth. When the time comes, no one can kill him. But now, he is being chased, or by someone weaker than himself. How can this make him not feel aggrieved or depressed now? Wrong. Suddenly, Yuluaha heard the sound coming from behind and felt something was wrong. The heavenly words that appeared in the world and outside the world in the past were created by you specially, right? Such a sentence, if it were Chen Mingho's words, would seem a bit abrupt. This Chen Mingho is not from Wanjia or the land beyond the boundary. Of course, Chen Mingho may be able to learn about everything that happened there, including the so-called Tiandao script, through the people left behind in the world of the gods and the world outside the world, but the other party will definitely not take it seriously, let alone bring it up at this critical moment. Yuluaha subconsciously turned his head slightly, and saw clearly the face of the pursuer at a glance. After all, he had forced a passage out of the storm and thunder sea, and the other party was also in this passage with him. Without the influence of the special environment of the storm and thunder sea, he could clearly see the other party's appearance. Duan Ling Tian. With just one glance, Yuluaha recognized the person who was chasing him. He was a celebrity in the creation world. He was also an invincible existence in the creation world. He was also the one who was fighting against him. His master was the first to break his destiny in the creation of the world, the blockade within Pan World. Through the creation chart, he could actually see everything inside easily. It's just that due to some rules and restrictions in the creation life chart world, Even if he is the owner of the creation life chart, he cannot directly intervene in the life and death of the people in it, unless he allows everyone in it to be buried with him. However, it was naturally impossible for him to do that. In his eyes, all the living beings in the creation world are the material that he has raised in it. He needs to use them in practicing the way of life sacrifice, so naturally it is impossible to destroy them. After all, once they are destroyed, the creation chart will become useless and meaningless. Of course, there is another way, which is to lure the other party out of the creation life chart world. But once the channel is opened, a new entry and exit of the creation life chart will be exposed in the world of gods and earth, and the traces will be exposed. Once he was guarded by the backhand arranged by those powerful people in the world of gods and earth, he would have no way to get close. Just like the multiple entrances that connect the world of creation and life to the world of gods and earth, although he knew where he was in the world of gods and earth, he did not dare to get close because once he got close, he would expose himself. Those original entrances and exits were not made by him, nor by the old owner of the creation chart, but by several people who obtained the disintegrated creation chart after the old owner of the creation chart died. The top power in the world of gods and earth, it was developed with great effort. It is precisely because of this that with the death of the old owner of the creation life chart, the life before the historical separation, such as the old man Wukong who died in the creation life chart, did not know the world they were in. What's the mystery? The entrance leads to the mysterious world. Only Duan Ling Tian and other beings who are in the creation world after the historical separation can have access to the 9 entrances. How can it be? He actually joined forces? Yu Luoha only felt a numbness in his scalp. He never expected that Duan Ling Tian would join forces. How long had it been? From the last serious injury to now, less than 100 years have passed. And he remembered very clearly that decades ago, although Duan Ling Tian had entered the 8th level of the most powerful, that is, the 8th level of the Tao, he had only entered it for the first time. In just a few decades, Ling Tianrua had only been promoted to the 9th level of the Tao. Although he was equally shocked, he could still reluctantly accept it. But now, during this period, Ling Tian directly crossed the 9th level of the Tao and entered the He Tao. Ha Tao. Who among the people in the world of gods and earth does not know that it is difficult to follow the path and reach the sky? This period of time, Ling Tian, a life from the creation life chart world, actually merged with the Tao? No wonder he can track Mia. Damn it! He is a life born in the world of creation life plan. Before he was promoted to He Tao, he could not communicate with the power of He Tao and could not detect the breath of creation life plan. But now he has stepped into He Tao, the power of He Tao is overwhelming, and the temple unexpectedly. He would naturally be able to detect the breath of the creation life chart that he could not detect before. Seeing Duan Ling Tian getting closer and closer, Yu Luoha felt a little desperate. Could it be that he, the master of the creation chart, was going to die at the hands of a being who in the past was just a mere material in his eyes? He is not willing to give in. No matter how talented Duan Ling Tian is, even if he stepped into the 7th level under his nose in the past, in his eyes, the other party is still qualified and he has never looked at the other party. But now, less than 100 years have passed since the last time the creation chart was exposed and he was besieged and killed. The qualifications he once regarded as his own have actually caught up with him and entered the world of gods and earth. The sealing cultivation realm, the He Tao realm. Chapter 4693. Duan Ling Tian took action. Call out. The deep sea above the head shook, and the rolling power of the infinite swordsmanship swept down from the horizon, like a stream of stars, perfectly integrated with the sword wielded by Duan Ling Tian, showing extremely terrifying power, as if the sword is slashed out, it can kill everything. The sword light roared in all directions, slashing at Yuluo who was running for his life in front. Duan Lingshan's eyes were solemn, with a bit of expectation. As long as he kills Yuluaha, he can get the creation chart. The creation chart is related to his former hometown, the land outside the world, and the world. Who would be willing to leave their hometown if they could return to their hometown? He wanted the creation life chart and had no intention of practicing the way of life sacrifice. He just wanted to see if his hometown was still there. If it was still fragmented, was there a way to repair it through the creation life chart? It stands to reason that there is a high probability that it can be repaired. After all, whether it is the 10,000 worlds or the land outside the world, it is the world opened up by the creation life chart. Duan Lingtian, if I hadn't been injured, how could I have allowed you to be so presumptuous? Yu Luoha shouted angrily, his voice filled with unwillingness, but he did not sit still and wait for death. He turned around and struck out like lightning, and a bright sword light roared out to meet him. With the power of Hadao that also fell from the sky and broke through the deep sea, he wanted to fight with Duanling Tian competes. In an instant, two terrifying forces collided with each other as the swords intersected, making an earth-shattering noise. The aftermath of the terrifying power raged, even evaporating the water in this area of the sea. A large vacuum area appeared. Puff dash. The sword light finally overcame the sword light. Yu Luaha, who had not fully recovered from his injuries, opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood, and retreated while taking action. Duanling Tian, on the other hand, is taking advantage of the victory to pursue it. At the same time, Chen Mingho went to Jianglan Divine Kingdom with his grandfather and failed to capture Duanling Tian. Not long after returning to the Wanshanchen family, he felt the vibration of the power of Hadao in the sky. It was obvious that someone was taking action and was using the infinite sword he had combined. The power of Tao. Looking at the entire world of gods and earth, before Duanling Tian appeared, he was the only one who enjoyed this path, and no other person could share the infinite sword path. That is to say, Duanling Tian, an otherworldly creature from the world of creation lifepan, didn't understand anything, yet he had no worries about the infinite sword Dao, which made him passive for a time, and the power of the He Dao was divided, which also meant that his strength will be subject to influence. It would be fine if the other party acted honestly, but if the other party forced too much Hadao power when he took action, it would undoubtedly affect his performance. The power of He Dao is so vibrating. Duanling Tian, are you fighting with someone? In terms of familiarity with the power of infinite sword Dao, throughout the entire world of gods and earth, no one can compare with Chen Mingho, even if he just succeeded in He Dao of infinite sword Dao. Duanling Tian did the same thing not long after. After all, Chen Mingho had already mastered the infinite swordsmanship. Enjoyed this path exclusively for many years. Now, with this abnormal movement, he can naturally see the source of the abnormal movement. The power of Hadao is so turbulent, he is definitely fighting with other Hadao realms. If he just breaks into the Tao, there is no need to use so much power of Hadao. It was not difficult for Chen Mingho to confirm this. After confirming, he narrowed his eyes, a cold light flashed, and at the same time, a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Avoiding me, right? You can hide for a while, but you can hide for a lifetime? Just like now, do you want to enjoy the power of Hadao? Dream. Chen Mingho immediately left the Wanshanchen family and found a secluded place. With full firepower, he tried his best to use the power of infinite swordsmanship to forcibly away the power of Hadao that had been borrowed by Duanling Tian. Phew. And this also directly caused the power of Duanlingshan's shots to drop sharply. This is. Yu Luaha naturally discovered such an obvious change in the decline of Hideo's power. He had already had the will to die because he was injured and was no match for Duanling Tian. But I didn't expect that it would take a turn. Has the power of infinite swordsmanship been diverted? After seeing this, Yu Luaha couldn't help laughing. Duanling Tian, it seems that the sky will not stop me today. You are not the only one who can master this infinite sword power in this generation. It seems that Chen Mingho from the Wanshanchen family intends to help me. Next time we meet, I must thank him. When Duanling Tian was chasing him, he thought it was Chen Mingho from the Wanshanchen family, because Chen Mingho combined the infinite way and the way of the sword, but later he found out that it was Chen Mingho from the Wanshanchen sect. Duanling Tian actually joined forces with Chen Mingho in the way of conflict when Duanling Tian took action. He didn't think that if Chen Mingho took action at the same time and snatched the power of Hadao, it would affect Duanlingshan's performance. But, just think about it. Because, in his opinion, Chen Mingho is unlikely to offend Duanling Tian so blatantly. After all, this time he can steal Duanlingshan's power of harmony, but next time he fights with others, Duanling Tian can definitely take revenge. Go. When is the time for retribution? In this case, both parties usually compromise with each other. However, what he didn't expect was that Chen Mingho actually took action. Moreover, looking at this posture, it is obvious that he is robbing the power of Hadao without any reservation. Duanling Tian, as long as you don't conform to the third path, it will be difficult to kill me, unless Chen Mingho doesn't fight with you. However, judging from the current situation, Chen Mingho must have a grudge against you for joining the infinite sword path, otherwise it would not be possible to the power of Hadao at such a critical moment. When I regain my strength, even if Chen Mingho doesn't fight with you, don't even think about killing me. Haha. Yu Luaha's figure turned into a blade of light, broke out of the sea, and instantly disappeared into the storm and thunder, gradually drifting away. When Duan Lingshan's Hadao power was forcibly snatched away by Chen Mingho, he was about to kill Yu Luoha successfully, but in the end, he missed a move and Yu Luoha took the opportunity to escape from Duan Lingshan's lock, with the cover of Storm Thunder. Again in addition, Chen Mingho continues to the power of Hadao, and it is no longer realistic for him to kill Yu Luoha. Continuing the pursuit, it was confirmed that Yu Luoha was faster than him and the distance became wider and wider. Duan Lingtian did not continue the pursuit, but paused, because he knew that this time it must be a failure. We can only wait until next time to take action. Anyway, unless Yu Luoha abandons his creation life chart, he can find him. Moreover, even if Yu Luoha abandons the creation life chart, he can still find the creation life chart. It will be even better when the time comes. He can successfully obtain the creation life chart without having to fight Yu Luoha. After all, his purpose in chasing Yu Luohi was to create the life chart. Chen Mingho. Duan Lingshan's face turned gloomy and ugly when he thought of the initiator who led to his failure in chasing Yu Luohi. He didn't even offend the other party, but the other party misunderstood him like this. Damn it! At this moment, Duan Lingshan's eyes also pulsed with murderous intent that could not be concealed. Chapter 4694. Although Yu Luoha temporarily escaped, Duan Lingshan's sense of the creation life chart is still there. No matter where he escapes to the ends of the world, as long as he is unwilling to abandon the creation life chart, Duan Lingtian can easily find him. Therefore, there is no situation where Yu Luoha will throw away Duan Lingtian. The reason why Duan Lingtian stopped and did not continue to pursue him was because as long as Chen Mingho kept acting as a stirring stick when he took action, robbing the combined power of infinite sword Dao, he would not be able to capture Yu Luo. There is little point in continuing to pursue it. When he used the power of the infinite swordsmanship, I had a clear reaction. I guess when I used the power of the infinite swordsmanship, he who also used the infinite swordsmanship also had the same reaction. Otherwise, it would be impossible for me to step in when I attack Luohi and plunder the power of Hadao, thus causing my strength to plummet. Standing in the sky above the sea of storms and thunder, Duan Lingtian looked gloomy and stared straight in one direction. That was where Hadao Jiang Tianjing of Jianglan Divine Kingdom told him before, where the Wanshan Qin clan was located. The Chen family of Wanshan is a Shuang Hatao. One of them, Hadao, is a being who combines three ways. He stands on the top of the pyramid in the world of gods and earth, overlooking the common people. It's really unpleasant, but also helpless. Duan Lingtian grinded his teeth slightly and sighed secretly in his heart, with a hint of unwillingness shining deep in his eyes. The creation chart was right in front of him, but because of Chen Mingho's blockage, he could only let it go. Now there were two paths before him. The first way is for him to continue to improve his strength, such as integrating the third path with infinite swordsmanship, and combining the three paths into one, becoming a strong man standing at the pinnacle of the world of gods and earth, comparable to Wanshan Chen's Hadao who combined the three paths. The kind of environment. At that time, the power of Hadao he masters will no longer be the power of infinite swordsmanship. No one can rob him of his power. His strength is not weaker than that of the old monster from the Wanshan Chen sect's three paths. At that time, the creation chart will be at your fingertips. However, this road requires a lot of waiting for him. After all, the combination of three roads into one is far more difficult than the combination of two roads into one. At least for now, he has no clue. The previous union of the two realms was also due to a trip to the Temple of the Sea of Bitterness, where I had an epiphany, and that state was something that can only be encountered but cannot be sought. It was also based on that epiphany at that time that the Sea of Bitterness was added to it. Temple Eternal Night Monk with his guidance and observation of the Hadao monument, he took that step and was promoted to Hadao in a short period of time. As for the second way, it is simple and crude. Looking for a helper, he is responsible for locking Yu Luohi's position, and the other party joins forces with him to deal with Yu Luohi and seize the creation life chart. However, there is a problem. Who doesn't want the creation chart? Will the helper he is looking for not be tempted? Even if he is familiar with the Hadao of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, the Hadao of Kuhai Temple, or even the Hadao of Qionghai Divine Island, he dare not trust them. Even if they say that they are wrong about the creation chart, he will only thought they were talking its nonsense. The purpose is to let him lead the way to find the creation chart. Just like what the CEO of a large company said in an interview when he was still on Earth in his previous life. I never touch money. I have no interest in money. After all, You still have to rely on yourself. Now, unless one of his relatives and friends appears in the Hadao realm, he cannot trust anyone. If he wants to seize the creation life chart, he can still only rely on himself. The world of Divine Land is so big that although it cannot be said to be boundless, it would be difficult for ordinary people to travel all over it. In a remote corner of the Divine Land world, behind a dangerous sea area, there is an isolated island with rich mineral deposits, which is controlled by a nearby force with a 4th level of Dao realm. Here, a group of mining slaves are imprisoned. After they were captured, they have been mining here and being squeezed for endless labor. Niantian, you said you were miserable enough. You finally got freed from the creation life chart world, and escaped being annihilated by the way of life sacrifice. In the blink of an eye, you were sent here by the Chongshan League to supervise the miners' also restricted freedom. In the isolated island, a young man with a strong build and a feminine face shook his head and said to another young man who was tall and impressive. Hearing his companion's words, Duan Yentian smiled bitterly. I can't help it. The reputation of the daughter of Vice Leader Gua of the Chongshan Alliance is really. I really can't chew it up. If my father knew that I found him such a daughter-in-law, then why don't you peel off my skin? Since he was exiled from the 10,000 realms to the Divine Land world, he immediately appeared within the sphere of influence of the Chongshan Alliance. The Chongshan League is a Taoist force with a 4th level of Taoist realm. It can be regarded as a small overlord in this corner of the world of gods and earth. When he first arrived here, he naturally wanted to understand the environment he was currently in. However, in the process of getting to know him, he was attracted by the daughter of Guoqiu, the deputy leader of the Chongshan League. Guoqiu's daughter was not bad, but he had already heard about it before he was attracted by the other party. The other party's various affairs. What about 9 dragons and 1 phoenix? 2 dragons playing with phoenix. Strangely enough, the other party fell in love with him, not because she wanted him to be her male favorite, but because she wanted to get married to him. Did you say you fell in love with him at first sight? He said that he was willing to help him, and even for Mingji, the other party personally killed all his male favorites. The scene at that time makes Duan Yentian still feel numb when he thinks about it. That woman is so terrible. Not to mention her cruelty, just talking about her past, he couldn't accept it, and he didn't dare to accept it. Otherwise, if he brought such a daughter-in-law back in the future, he wouldn't be beaten by his father and mother? Originally, he was already determined to die, thinking that when the other party was angry, he would most likely kill him. But even so, he still wants to die to prove his ambition. Unexpectedly, the other party did not kill him, but sent him to this isolated island, saying that he would stay on this isolated island forever and never be able to leave. Somebody is coming. Suddenly, Duan Nianshan's expression became serious, and he reached out and pulled the young man beside him to hide. After all, they had sneaked into this area. According to the rules of the isolated island, they, the supervisors, could not be lazy. If discovered, a punishment is inevitable. It's Lord Xueqi and Lord Shingon. The young man next to Duan Yentian looked at an old man and a middle-aged man passing by in the air not far away through the obstruction in front, and said in a low voice. At this time, the sound of the two people chatting without deliberately concealing it was also conveyed in a timely manner. I heard that another powerful Hadao man has appeared in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Is it true? A second Hadao has appeared in Jianglan Divine Kingdom? It's true. I heard that a life that wandered from the creation life chart world to our divine earth world was promoted to Hadao just a few decades after arriving in the divine earth world. It's really scary. Chapter 4695. In the blink of an eye, the other two people who forced Duan Yentian and the two to hide went away, but their words were clearly transmitted to the ears of Duan Yentian and the two of them, and the two could not help but look at each other in silence for a long time. Final thoughts. Only the person next to Tian spoke to break the silent atmosphere. Niantian, I remember that you said, including you, the beings in the creation lifepan world were all exiled to the divine land world decades ago. How could someone be promoted to Hadao so quickly? The young man next to Duan Yentian asked curiously. You seem to have said that the most powerful being in the creation world is a strong man who is comparable to the 8th level of the Tao, and there is only one? Duan Yentian had told his friend about the world of creation, that is, the world and even the places outside the world. However, he did not tell the other party about his family situation, nor did he tell the other party that the most recognized person in the creation chart world, the 8th level Taoist, was Duan Nianshan's father, Duan Ling Tian. Duan Yentian nodded. As far as he knew, in all the worlds and even the places outside the world, before the creation world changed and the lives in it wandered into the world of gods and earth, his father was indeed the only one who entered the 8th level of the Tao, that is, the 8th strongest one. Order. Although his master, Feng Qingyang, entered the 7th level before his father, he was still at the 7th level before they wandered into the world of gods. Is it the father? Thinking of this, Duan Nianshan's eyes lit up and he was extremely excited. In his opinion, if a strong person from the creation life chart world to the divine earth world has the best chance of entering the Hadao realm in a short time, he is probably his father, followed by his master Feng Qingyang. At this time, the young man next to Duan Niantian continued to speculate. Niantian, is it possible that there is a strong person you don't know about hidden in the creation world? Otherwise, if someone who entered the 8th level of the Tao a few decades ago was exiled to the world of gods and earth, in such a short period of time, even the most genius monster would have no chance of stepping into the Hadao. It's possible to be promoted to the 9th level. It is not an easy thing to achieve the Dao. There are only dozens of strong people in the world of gods and earth, but there are hundreds of people who have entered the 9th level of the Dao. In the world of gods and earth, monks who enter Taoism can be said to travel everywhere. Even among the most powerful monks who have entered the 9th level, there are still hundreds of people who have not reached the point of dying and going to bed in this world. For example, in Jianglan Divine Kingdom and Kuhai Temple, although there are only 3 people on the 9th floor of the Dao on the surface, in fact, there are still 9 people who have walked out of these 2 places and still survived. Quite a few. The reason why they did not stay in Jianglan Divine Kingdom and Kuhai Temple was because the powerful Taoists in these 2 places could not help them in understanding the 10,000 Daos. Because the Tao they mastered get along with those 2 the strong do not coincide. In this case they often go out or travel on their own to find the Tao, or invest in some Hadao forces that are helpful to their understanding of the 10,000 Tao. In other words, 10 people who have entered the 9th level of the Tao can barely reach 1 Hadao. The remaining 9 levels of Dao were not able to enter the He Dao realm the moment before they were wiped out by time. Hearing the young man's words, Duan Yentian couldn't help but become suspicious. Is he really not his father and master? But if it weren't for them, in all the realms and beyond, could there be a third existence more powerful than them? He couldn't figure it out. However now, he couldn't help but feel curious, wanting to know who the strong man in the Hadao realm was. It seems that now I have a chance to take a gamble. Perhaps. This is my only chance to leave here. Duan Nianshan's eyes flashed. He was confined to this isolated island and was not allowed to leave. Even the Taoist master stationed on the island did not dare to offend the deputy leader of the Chongshan League named Gua because of him. After all, he was the one named by the other party to be trapped here until he died of old age. Yu Chong, let's go back first. Duan Yentian greeted his companion and returned to his post. Then when the other party began to monitor the mining slaves at work, he walked towards the location of the 2 strong men who had just come over. Those are 2 powerful people who have entered the Dao, but they are only on the 1st level of the Dao. They are considered figures in the Chongshan League. One of them is the person in charge of this isolated island, and the other is responsible for taking people back and forth to receive the mineral deposits excavated here. Leader. Master Xueqi, Master Shengan. There is an overseer named Duan Yentian who wants to see you if there is something urgent. Soon, someone came to report to the only 2 Dao realms on the isolated island. Duan Yentian was not qualified to meet the 2 of them directly. Duan Yentian? Shangan frowned. This name sounds familiar. Xueqi on the side smiled and said, "It's normal for you to feel familiar, because that boy was sent here by Miss Gua decades ago." She bluntly said that he would be trapped here until he died of old age, making his life worse than death. It's him. I remembered. Shangan suddenly realized that he had heard about this incident back then, and at the same time he could not understand the choice made by the guy named Duan Yentian. He could obviously get married to Miss Gua, climb up the ranks of vice leader Gua of their Chongshan alliance, and live on top of others from now on. But he rejected Miss Gua and could only spend the rest of his life on this isolated island. But why did he come to us? Shangan was a little confused. Wouldn't it be better to let him come over? Xueqi smiled. Soon, the 2 of them saw Duan Yentian, and Xueqi glanced at each other lightly. Duan Yentian, I heard that you have something urgent to come to us for? Tell me what's the matter. Upon hearing the inquiry, Duan Yentian glanced at the other people nearby. Seeing this, Xueqi narrowed his eyes slightly. It seemed that Duan Yentian didn't want anyone else besides himself and Shangan to hear what he was going to say next. This also made him even more curious, and he repeatedly ordered the others beside him to step back. Soon, Only Duan Yentian, Xueqi and Shang'an were left at the scene. Can we talk now? Shang'an also looked at Duan Yentian with interest, wondering what the other party wanted to say to them. Two adults, before I say anything, I want to ask you too. I heard that a second Hadao strongman appeared in Jianglan Divine Kingdom recently, but I don't know if his surname is Duan? Duan Yentian took a deep breath and asked while holding his breath, fearing that the other party would say no. After all, this is his only chance to escape from here. Originally, he was thinking of escaping on his own after he was promoted to Taoism. But that would undoubtedly take a long time. Now that he had the chance to leave, he naturally didn't want to wait any longer. Chapter 4696. Faced with Duan Nianshan's inquiry, Xueqi looked at Shang'an, because he also heard from Shang'an about the news about the appearance of a second Hadao realm powerhouse in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. He didn't know the specific details. Shang'an stared at Duan Yentian with lightning eyes and asked meaningfully, Duan Yentian, why are you asking this? Could it be that you want to say that you have some relationship with that strong man in the Hadao realm? Don't think that you both have the surname Duan and have similar names, you can fool us. As Shang'an finished speaking, Duan Yentian hadn't spoken yet, but Xueqi on the side was startled. Similar names? Although he learned from Shang'an that there was a strong man newly promoted to Hadao from Jianglan Divine Kingdom, and he was from Shang'an. People who live in the world of creation and horoscope and live in the world of gods and earth do not understand the specific situation of the other party, and they do not know the other party at all. Name. Now, after hearing Shang'an's words, he couldn't help but be curious. Similar names? What name? Shang'an glanced at Xueqi and said, It is said that the new Hadao from Jianglan Divine Kingdom made an astonishing name in Jianglan Divine Kingdom when he entered the Taoist realm. He was known as the Reverse Divine Sword, and his full name is Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian is now famous not only in the surrounding areas of Jianglan Divine Kingdom, but also in all parts of the Divine Land. In fact, because of the long time gap now, even the Chongshan League, a small force in the mountains of the Divine Land world, began to spread the news about his name and the various things he had done in Jianglan Divine Kingdom. Trace. All this is just because he was promoted to a powerful Hadao man. Looking at the entire world of gods and earth, there are only a few dozen people. Duan Lingtian? While Xueqing's pupils shrank and his face looked horrified, Duan Yentian on the side couldn't help but turn red and his whole body was shaking violently. Although he was mentally prepared, he couldn't help but feel inexplicably excited. His father was promoted to a powerful Hadao man. How many years has it been? Less than 100 years ago. Less than 100 years after arriving in the world of gods and earth, his father, who had just arrived in the world of gods and earth and was comparable to the 8th level of Taoism, was promoted to the top being in the world of gods and earth. Shang'an was naturally aware of Duan Nianshan's abnormality, and even with his strength and spiritual awareness, he could easily feel Duan Nianshan's emotional fluctuations, and it didn't look like he was pretending on purpose. The names are too similar, right? There's only one word missing. Xueqi also looked at Duan Yentian, and after seeing that he was very excited, asked, Duan Yentian, you also come from the world of creation life charts, and your name comes from the same place. The strong men of Hadao in the creation world are so similar. You two can't. Does it really matter? At this time, Duan Nianshan's emotions calmed down a little. He looked at Xueqi and said bluntly, Master Xueqi, Duan Lingtian is my father. With just one sentence, both Xueqi and Shang'an couldn't help but lose their composure. Soon, Xueqi came back to his senses and said repeatedly, Impossible. He fell on Duan Yentian with a scrutinizing gaze and sneered, Duan Yentian, you must have known the news about the Hadao realm powerhouse in advance, so you deliberately made up such lies, right? If you are really the son of that powerful Hadao man, let alone the recent breakthrough to the Hadao realm, even if he just wandered into the world of gods and earth decades ago, it is said that he has already reached the 8th level of Taoism. You have a father who has reached the 8th level. Will you be imprisoned here by Miss Gua? He had to question. After all, not to mention that Duan Yentian had a father who had entered the 8th level. Even if his father was only a person above the 4th level, Miss Gua would not dare to provoke him. After all, even the people behind Miss Gua, the Guoqiu, the deputy leader of the Chongshan Alliance, has only entered the 3rd level of Taoism. The strongest person in their Chongshan Alliance, the leader of the Shenlong Alliance who has never seen the beginning or end of the dragon, has only reached the 4th level of the Tao. Hearing Xueqing's words, Shang An's eyes on Duan Yantian were also a little more suspicious. After all, what Xueqi said was completely reasonable. If Duan Yantian had such a father, he would be reduced to the situation he is now. How could she be forced to this point by the daughter of a mere third-level Taoist? Facing the two people's doubts, Duan Yantian did not panic. After all, he did not lie. He smiled bitterly and said, "Two adults with the temperament of Miss Gua, if I claim that I have a father who has reached the 8th level, I am afraid that definitely will think I'm lying. Even if she doesn't think I'm lying, she will most likely choose to kill someone to silence me if she offends me like that. My father is not only no longer around, but he has wandered to nowhere in the world of gods and earth. Even if I want him to help me, water from afar cannot cure my thirst for nearness. If she has the intention to kill me, I might take the risk. But the problem is, she didn't kill me. So, in order to survive, I can only choose to endure the humiliation and bear the burden." Speaking later, Duan Yantian also looked helpless. Before the two of them could speak again, Duan Yantian looked at the two of them seriously and said sincerely, "Two adults, I don't ask you to let me go now. After all, what I say is unfounded. In your opinion, nor it must be true. However, I still hope that the two adults can find someone to visit Jianglan Divine Kingdom to confirm this matter. I believe that if my father knew my situation, he would definitely come to save me personally. And the two adults will also be able to receive a favor from my father. The favor of a strong man in the Hadao realm is enough for the two adults to send someone to give it a try. There is actually no loss for the two adults, as long as they don't inform Gua Lily of the matter, as long as you are just confirming secretly. Even if it turns out that I am lying, you don't have to worry about getting punished for it. Blame Gua Lily." Gua Lily, also known as Miss Gua by Xueqi and her husband, is the daughter of Gua Qiu, the deputy leader of the Chongshan League. After hearing Duan Yantian's words, Xueqi and Shang'an looked at each other, and they both saw movement in each other's eyes. After all, this is an opportunity to get a favor from a strong man in the Hadao realm. A strong man in the Hadao realm. In the past, in their eyes, the leader of the Chongshan Alliance, who was at the 4th level of Dao realm, was an extremely powerful being that they looked up to. A strong person in the Hadao realm is someone that the leader of their Chongshan Alliance may not be able to meet even if they want to. Such an existence and a favor can definitely make them reach the sky in one step. I think we can try it. What do you think? Xueqi Chuanin communicated with Shang and responded, "You can give it a try. It just so happens that after a while, I need to travel far away, and that direction is the direction to Jianglan Divine Kingdom. I will go there in person to see if I can meet the powerful Hadao realm. Please, find out whether what Niantian said in this paragraph is true or false." You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.